Well, hello and welcome to the Plain Talking Airline Pilot Geeks Safety Layovers Christmas Show 2018. And I hope you enjoyed that rather festive intro there, which, Matt, I must say, that was really good. You done well there.
Well, I just mashed it all together. You're the one that came up with the crazy idea.
I know.
So, see, Carlos quite often sends me these, what I can only describe as ridiculous videos, and usually I look at them and think, you have far too much time on your hands.
I know.
And then all of a sudden, every now and again, a little bit of gold, and I thought, I hadn't worked out what we were going to do for an intro, so I thought that'll do nicely.
I know,
there we
it worked
anyway,
really well.
Indeed.
So it is Christmas time, and I'm sure while you are all listening to this show, you're busy either unwrapping presents or getting
Eating
frustrated
the
with the
now,
socks that you've just got off your mum and dad or nannies and granddads and aunties and uncles and stuff. Or the jumpers that I suppose you might have got from
nothing wrong with a good festive jumper.
Nothing wrong with a festive jumper. No, well, it is Christmas time, and obviously it is our annual Christmas show. So welcome, Matt. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I must admit, I'm a little bit warm in my festive
jumper.
I
Very festive.
I wear this
Look
every
at this,
year.
though.
There we go. Look, there we are. It's that's me stuck in the chimney. Obviously, that's how this game works.
Actually, I do remember, Matt. You actually played Santa one year. I remember you had to. Is it last year? You had to dress up as Santa.
I actually had my Santa suit, but I didn't want to spoil it.
A bit warm for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So joining us as well via the realms of the web is obviously the other awesome host of the show. It's Neville Bounds.
Yes, hello. Well, I'm doing the drinks tonight, so just get me your orders in, and I'll bring them to you. But yes, Merry Christmas, everybody! Great to be back on the show again, and looking forward to a bit of a laugh.
I have to be honest with you, Nev. One is looking rather dapper in one's penguin suit. Is that the correct?
Well, I thought the standards were slipping, so
Yes,
I thought, what can I do to improve things?
What can you do?
Let's do a direct comparison. Here we go. Here's Carlos in his T-shirt. Basically, he's made no expense spared whatsoever for his Christmas outfit, and then we go to Nev. Look, who's I presume just basically got a suit that he's the rental runs out next week, does it?
That's right. Yes, I am fully clothed below the waistline. If anybody's interested.
Yeah, no.
Have you gone the full hog though, Nev? Have you got cufflinks on the shirt?
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. Yes, I certainly have. Yes, yeah. I've gone the full
He
hog,
says
yeah,
describing a visual joke on record. But anyway.
Okay. Yeah, on the audio podcast.
Safe to say, Nev's wearing cufflinks with his shirt.
Indeed.
So, joining us as well this festive
also
show
via the web. Yeah.
By the web is another awesome chap. He's the chap who I love flying with because he's such an awesome teacher, and I'm hopefully going to be taught by him very soon to fly again and to complete my license. Hopefully.
Okay.
Soon. So, welcome onto the show. It's Armando.
Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. Felicidades. Feliz Navidad. This is pre-recorded, so I'm assuming that it's cold and rainy here in the UK, but...
that doesn't really narrow it down, Armando. Let's be honest. It's always cold and rainy here.
I know. It could be April or March or June.
Yeah, or indeed summer. But yes, I must say, I'm loving the Christmas tree in the background.
Yeah.
Good work, sir. Good work.
I had to catch up with some of the other guys you're about to see.
Like I say, I'm sure when we started, have we really been setting this up that long? Because when we started, there was no tree behind Armando.
No, there wasn't.
He's had time to set up a Christmas tree and all sorts in the time.
Yeah.
No, I didn't set it up. It's grown in the time that we've
Right. Fair enough.
So, are you well then, Armando?
Yeah, doing really great. Always trying to get some flying in, trying to get checked out in the Cub. And
you're still trying to get checked out in the Cub.
it's about 4 weeks now that it's just been too cloudy to do it.
No, I can't. I'm looking forward to that. We didn't get the chance to fly in the Cub.
What's a Cub? Somebody
Piper Cub.
translate.
It's such an. It's
Okay,
proper
all right.
old school
Maybe that's
aircraft.
one for another
Yeah.
show. All right, yeah. Moving on.
So moving on, joining us as well for the festive show is he needs no introduction really. It's our main man, Micah.
Merry Christmas, everyone. It's such a joy to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me. And, I just realized one of the differences between pilots and non-pilots. Because being a non-pilot, I heard Armando say he wants to get checked out in the Cub, and you want to get checked out in the Cub. I just want to get checked out.
Right. I see what you did there.
He's good. He's good. Are you well? How are things, Micah? All good?
Things are wonderful. I'm so happy to be here. I'm wearing my festive Maine winter Christmas flannel, and it's been a wonderful time up here in Maine. It's actually sunny and nice. We've had some rain, but we've got a gorgeous day outside, about 30 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that? It's about 0 Celsius, I guess, and sunny and beautiful.
So joining us as well on the show tonight is a chap who at the moment has probably the most festive beard in the whole of the UK. Welcome, Captain Nick.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas! Hi, guys.
Oh, Nick, I've got to say, that is one heck of a beard implement you're wearing there.
This is just, my festive version of one I'd normally be wearing. Yeah, jingles and
Very
so,
jingly, yes.
You hear that?
Yes.
Excellent. So, yes, isn't it marvellous? Christmas and all that. Fantastic. Love it.
And how are things with you, Nick? I'm guessing you're well back into the flying kind of thing now.
I am, but not for much longer. I have brought my retirement date forward a little. The APG listeners already know, but I've decided to go at the end of May, so I have about 174 days left to go, a little under 6 months. So I'm really on my rundown now, and I think I'll be wearing this beard on the flight deck now.
Just don't squawk 7700. Anyway,
I just try not to squawk, basically.
Moving on to the next lucky host who's joining us on the show. For the festive show, it is the man who gives everything a safe tick on his box. It's Pilot Pip.
I beg your pardon. Ticking is what now?
How are you, Mr. Pip?
Yes, hello everyone. Ho 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 as well from me. You're all rather putting me to shame. Nick with his flashy beard and Nev with his DJ on, and me looking like a right old scruff bag in my t-shirt and jeans here.
It's all right. Carlos is looking no worse than you.
Shush.
It's fine.
Yeah, and my bootleg bottle of wine that I nicked off the aircraft. So yes, thanks for the invite. Great to be here. Looking forward to a fun, festive show and a Merry Christmas to everybody who listens.
Okay, good.
And hopefully the hotel band
Wi-Fi will just hold out long enough.
Just hold out.
Yeah, I'm going to apologise to everyone in advance. My hotel Wi-Fi, it was perfect for a while, but now it rather sucks, I'm afraid.
Oh, well,
I'll do my best.
That's Netflix for you. Joining us as well, and everyone will know the next voice. He's been on the show before, and he's kind of a kingpin, really, in another very famous podcast we all know and love. Ooh. From the Airplane Geeks, it's Brian Coleman.
Hello, Carlos, Matt, Nick, Pip, Armando. Guess that's everyone so far. So Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy Hanukkah for those that celebrate the other. And yeah, really happy to be here and joining you guys again.
I must say I am a massive lover of the hat. It's just marvelous with it, with the ears and the bell and everything. You got
good.
What's not to love about Snoopy, eh?
I'm just wondering what particular drink that Brian's going to spill over the keyboard this year.
He's got his MacBook out, so hopefully
I planned ahead, and I do not have any
beverages.
Well, I do have water, but I'm keeping it away from the keyboard. Just have to,
as long as it's not eggnog.
Yeah, no.
I was rooting for eggnog this year.
That would make a mess.
Before we get into the show, though, I really want to ask Captain Nick a question, which is, if anyone wanted to get on your last flight, how can we go about doing that and joining you in your festivities?
Oh, now there's an idea.
I have no idea what my last flight would be or when it will be, so it's not going to be easy, I'm afraid. I will try and give as much notice as possible, hoping to do perhaps an Atlanta, a 2-night Atlanta. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Because that's fairly central.
What a way to finish.
And let's just clarify that just to be safe. We're talking about last flight as pilot in command. That's all, not the last flight.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It depends whether I can rouse myself to get back in an airplane when I finish this jolly job. So I might just do the annual Christmas thing that I normally do, which is, rein up those reindeers and smack them on the backside and hurtle around the world. Ho, ho, ho.
And lastly, joining us on the show, his first time on a Christmas special show. But we've had him on the show before, and he is one of the hosts of an awesome podcast called the Layovers podcast. It's Paul.
Hi guys, how is everyone? Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Oh my God, I'm mirrored on the end camera. So I should look left is right.
He's not used to this, is he? Yeah,
No, not at all, actually.
Yeah. It's the joys of being pre-recorded normally, you see. It's all very civilized.
Our podcast is voice only, you see, guys. Yeah, you're very lucky to catch me because I literally just arrived from, 2 weeks of travel and leaving tomorrow again. And I'm in London and I'm so happy. That's why I don't have any Christmas things around me. I didn't even have the time to buy a tree yet. It's going to be after I come back from Tokyo. But I found the only thing I have about Christmas is this T-shirt that was made by students that teach on the MBA program. So I'm a Greek, a Swiss, and a Finn. And I usually say the joke, as a Greek, I dodge the taxes. As a Swiss, I put all that money in the bank. As a Finn, I finance Christmas with all that money I just dodged.
I like it. Nice.
There you go.
So, Paul,
Hello,
I think it's safe to say, Paul, anyone who follows you on Instagram or follows you on social media will have seen that in the last few weeks you have done about 100 million billion flights around the world.
I'm not proud to be honest, guys. I don't want to brag. It's just way too much. But I mean, it's the last bit. It's the last bit is now, and then finally I will actually enjoy what I always do, which is staying in London and not moving for Christmas.
So where are you off to next, then, Paul? You're back off flying again?
Geneva, Seoul, Tokyo, Geneva again, and back here.
Oh, blimey.
Wow, sounds good.
Any airline of choice?
It's a mix, actually, this time. I'm flying Swiss, Lufthansa, Asiana, and the funniest one is Ethiopian. Between Incheon to Narita, I'm flying Ethiopian, which makes no sense whatsoever, but I wanted to try the Dreamliner. On the way back, I'm doing JAL and then BA, and that's it.
BA, there you are. So
best to last.
Yeah, of course, BA. I love BA.
I
guys.
literally saw Nev's ears prick up then when he's...
Well, Paul, you must be a member of Star Alliance, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, when I moved to the UK 7 years ago, but it took me 5 years to start accruing on One World. So I'm a senator, so the gold, whatever, on Star Alliance. Yes, been almost like 10 years now. I was a ex-Sky Team. I used to be also very high on Sky Team, and I gave up after I moved away from Asia.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, I know. Let's stop talking about that. You know, at the end of the day, I hate that because the thing I really hate the most when I board a plane is having to see the sense of entitlement of each person thinking they're the biggest priority. I'm above gold. I'm super diamond platinum. I'm like, come on, guys. It's just we're all going to the same place. Anyway.
Hey, don't be making fun of me like that.
we forget about Brian's platinum club status, don't we? Yeah. So
I've only done 5 million. Come on, there are many that have more than me.
God, it makes my Emirates Skyward points look mediocre.
Yeah, you've done about 4 flights.
I know. Anyway.
You know, they've started, instead of giving points to Brian anymore, they just give him stock options.
Right. Always an option.
Hey, they're about worth the same these days.
That's true.
So we are gonna we're gonna start the show. Then our festive show this week with a few festive stories. Later on in the show, we have got a really awesome segment that is sent in by our main man, Micah. It's a festive segment this year. As always, Micah sends us in a little bit for Christmas. We've also got a little bit of a comedy segment that Matt sort of squirreled away for us here to play out. We've also got a special message from a certain very Premier League podcaster coming up later on in the show. And also, Pilot Pip has put together a festive quiz for all the hosts to play. So that's coming up later as well.
Absolutely. I hope you've been studying up this year a lot.
Yes, we have Pip with his mouth full of cakes.
Sorry, I didn't want me to confuse. It's my dinner. Leave me alone.
Just leave it on the bandwidth.
Don't panic. So we are going to start the show then, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So if you're festively ready, Matt.
I think we should just basically say, is everybody ready? Get them to say yes, and then we'll do it. So if everybody is ready... Ready. Let's go.
So, kicking off this week's festive news story, this one is on the ftnnews.com. And Santa's naughty list leaked in Air New Zealand Christmas video.
Oh dear.
Air New Zealand's new Christmas video sees the world's naughtiest children unite in a bid to get back on Santa's good list after the big man accidentally leaks his official naughty list. The nicest Christmas ever shows Air New Zealand flying to the rascals' rescue, assembling an international naughty kids summit to tackle the threat of empty stockings. Knowing that Santa is always watching, the delegation of little darlings pledges better behaviour, but when talks stall with the US representative, it falls to New Zealand to save the season. More than 300 children of Air New Zealand employees auditioned to take part in the clip, with 17 selected to star as extras alongside the airline's ground cabin crew. Santa makes an appearance as well. Oh, didn't realise you were there, Nick. And also the elf from last year's Air New Zealand Christmas video. Air New Zealand General Manager, Global Brand and Content Jodie Williams says the airline has a reputation for poking fun and wanted to inject some Kiwi humour into Christmas celebrations. From childhood memories of writing to Santa through to the drama of festive tech fail, the heartwarming video plays on a silly season moments in a very Kiwi way. The video follows Air New Zealand's A Very Merry Christmas mistake from a Christmas of 2017, which shared Santa's struggle to decipher the New Zealand accent. I remember that one. We played that last year.
Yes, we did, yeah.
The campaign attracted 13 million views and won Global Content Idea of the Year at the PR Week Global Awards in London. That's quite nice. I like that. A little bit of festive. And I remember that video was really good last year they done with Santa. I remember trying to decipher the children's requests for Christmas.
If you'd like to watch that video, you'll actually find in our show notes that are associated with both the video and audio versions of the show. If you have a look, obviously story number 1 this is, and you'll find a link to find that video for you to play out. Yeah, no, it's nice that they do a lot of, they take a lot of effort.
They love their videos.
Yeah, they do.
The Kiwis, yeah, definitely.
Don't always go down that well, do they? With sort of, especially some of the people in the you know, like their safety videos and stuff. Some people don't like, but yeah.
Any comments from the guests on the said video?
Obviously, it's the U.S. representatives that have made the talk stall, right? They had to find someone. Oh my God.
Yeah, Theresa May wasn't there at the time.
No,
anyway, moving on to the next story.
It's gone political already.
I know.
Shall I say the word Brexit and get it out of the way? Shall I?
Oh,
just
come on.
Yeah. Just get it out of the way now.
So, Nev, the next story is for you.
Yeah, it's on the independent.co.uk website, and it says that a new time-lapse video charts the hundreds of thousands of flights taking off during the festive period. From the 21st to the 25th of December, 466,897 departures will carry more than 69 million passengers around the globe. In the UK, 10,888 flights are scheduled to arrive between the 21st and 25th of December, bringing 1.8 million people to spend the holiday season here. Of these, 8,163 will be international arrivals touching down from Spain, the US and Germany. London's Heathrow and Gatwick airports will be the busiest UK ones, followed by Manchester. A total of 10,994 flights will depart the country during the run-up to Christmas. The busiest country for flight arrivals and departures is the US, with 118,071 departures and 118,844 arrivals over the 5 days. It's followed by China, India, Indonesia and Canada. The UK makes it into the busiest cities list, with London coming in third thanks to its 6,071 departures and 6,007 arrivals. It's pipped to the post by...
All without one visual approach.
Yes, exactly. Yes. It's pipped to the post by New York with 7,667 departures and 7,596 arrivals, and Chicago with 6,686 departures and 6,678 arrivals. The busiest day for air travel worldwide during the 5 days is the 23rd of December. 99,948 flights are scheduled that day. It's closely followed by the 22nd of December, where 98,275 flights will be taking off and landing in total. The time lapse has been produced by BuyGift to visualize just how important spending time with our nearest and dearest around the world is by showing the lengths people go to, quite literally, over the 5 days ahead of Christmas in order to be with their loved ones. The video is based on flight data from OAG Aviation, which details the comings and goings of 450 airports worldwide and includes all scheduled flights. Christmas is globally one of the peak periods for scheduled airlines, and OAG's dynamic schedules database and flight status systems highlight the sheer size and scale of passengers moving at this busy time of year, said Carolina Mather at OAG. With schedules changing daily, keeping a track on flights and expected arrival times make Christmas seem that little bit nearer. There's some eye-watering figures in there. My goodness.
Yeah, great prediction. Shame about that volcano that's going to brew up in Iceland.
Oh no! Really? Is that seriously? Is that a thing, or are you just trying to wind
the Christmas volcano? No, I think I might make it up, but a bit hard to tell. It might have already happened.
Well, right.
Are you penned to fly over the Christmas season, Nick, or are you have you got the Christmas season off?
Certainly not. I'm way too senior.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking when I saw those figures. I was like, no airline pilots having any of those 3 days off.
No, unless you're Captain Nick Anderson. Yeah, absolutely.
Has anyone of you flown as a pilot or as a passenger on the 25th? Because for me, it was a tradition until my parents passed away. Every 25th, I was on a plane, and it was always half empty. That was awesome, actually. Have you ever flown, guys?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, I have. When I was a wee bit younger.
Yeah, and there was one year that I flew back from Japan on the 25th, and you're right, the plane was about half empty, but that was pre 9/11 as well, so the plane could have been half empty anyway.
Because of that, right? Yeah, true.
Oh, this is good because I'm going back to the States on the 25th. So,
are you actually flying out home on Christmas Day?
Yeah, it was the cheapest rates.
Really?
Wow. Who's that with?
Super cheap.
I think I'm on Delta.
Okay, never heard of them. Moving on.
That's not a good Christmas
It would be Israeli.
How about you, Pip? Are you penned in over the Christmas period? Are you off?
No, I'm off over Christmas.
Oh, okay.
At least for the 24th, 25th, 26th. I think I'm back on the 27th, if I remember rightly.
Wow. Oh, I've got 11 days off. Anyway. Moving on to
it's all about. I was going to say before we move on, in terms of flying, at least here in the U.S., flying on Thanksgiving Day itself, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day, usually the airports are pretty empty, the planes are pretty empty, and the rates are the fares are the least expensive because people just don't like to fly on those days directly. It's pretty amazing.
I'm amazed by that. I'd almost be sort of convinced that
ramping up the price.
Yeah, you'd think sort of, but then I suppose everybody wants to be home before Christmas, don't they? So I suppose.
Well, yeah. I was just going to say that Mrs. Nev and I are flying from Gatwick to Jersey on Christmas Eve, and the flights were pretty cheap actually when we booked them, and we're just coming back on the 26th. But I just got a notification from BA today to say, would I like to upgrade my economy fare to business fare for a mere £551 one way. They're obviously trying to compensate for the lack of revenue.
Yeah, lack of interest on the flight. Yeah, okay. I assume that's quite a high number, is it, for what they?
For a 1 hour flight, it's extremely.
1 hour flight! Wow.
And unnecessary. Yes.
Yeah. No. Okay. All right. Now I'll give you that. Yeah, that sounds horrendous. Yeah. Okay.
Well, I do remember Christmas flights where we've had so few passengers, we've just brought everybody up to upper class and had a great big party last 10 hours.
Oh, wow.
So jealous.
That would be the most awesome flight, wouldn't it?
That would be the best flight.
That was great. I mean, I think we had about a dozen passengers, most of whom were actually companions. So everyone just went up the front and opened all the wine, had a good time.
Yeah. Do you know, I love it. Because every time Captain Nick speaks, of course, it's like sleigh bells.
I know.
I love it. It's just
so nice.
Brilliant.
So, Armando, you've got the next story on the list.
Hey, Carlos, I love that you picked this story because, as you know, I've been part of the Civil Air Patrol for like 25 years now. So,
oh yeah.
To the Moorbank Squadron of the Australian Air League, these guys have just found worldwide fame on the PTUK podcast. So,
excellent.
The Moorbank Squadron of the Australian Air League local youth group marched with crowds of Liverpool Council's Christmas in the Mall event last Saturday, December 1st. The Air League is a voluntary youth organization which was formed in 1934 to foster a spirit of aviation in youth and promote good citizenship. To mark the end of the event, the cadets, who are aged 8 and older, escorted Mayor Wendy Waller and Santa Claus to the Christmas tree. After the Christmas tree lights were switched on, the squadron band officially closed the event with a medley of jingle bells and songs including When the Saints Go Marching In and Waltzing Matilda. Commanding Officer Bell said it was a great event. It's a fantastic way to start the festive season with a performance by the cadets. It's also a testament to the hard work of all the cadets have put in, taking time out of their weekend to support their local community. Miss Waller later wrote a message on Facebook to thank the league. Thank you to the Australian Air League, Moorbank Squadron for the special escort down to the Christmas tree lighting, she wrote. The league provides a number of activities to cadets, such as aviation theory, flying for members 14 and over, ceremonial drill, physical activities, and camping. The end.
But no flying. Oh.
No, they fly their cadets, I believe.
Oh,
they do orientation flights.
Didn't you you were in the Air Cadets at some point, Pip, if I remember rightly from your show?
Oh, yes, very much. I loved the Air Cadets. Our Air Cadets in the UK is a slightly older age range. It starts from 13 upwards. But it's a wonderful organization, full of opportunity and flying and outdoor pursuits and all that kind of stuff. But the thing with this story, I didn't quite get it, or maybe I missed it, but did they really have a bunch of cadets from Australia come all the way to Liverpool in the UK, or was this Liverpool, Australia?
I can only imagine it's Liverpool.
And if it was Liverpool, UK, how disappointed were those 8-year-olds?
True. There is that.
Yeah, they probably had all the wheels from their tricycles stolen.
Indeed.
God.
Slightly.
Well, there's our listenership in Liverpool just gone
ruined.
down.
Yeah, absolutely. They wouldn't understand us anyway, to be fair.
Yeah,
They have the internet in Liverpool.
Okay, moving
Anyway,
on. Quick.
moving swiftly on to the next story. Who is going to read? It's Micah. Uncle Micah. The story is next.
Well, that's great, but I want to throw a monkey wrench in the works. I didn't like my story. Can I choose my own? I think I found a better story.
What?
No, you can't. It's probably
Yes. Choose your own story.
Yeah, read your own story. Silly old man.
Well, this is from
You've lost control.
I figure Captain Al's not here, so somebody's got to really
Good point. Yeah, absolutely.
right? Christmas will be brought to you this year more than ever before by airplanes. And it may not increase the intensity of your child's gleeful smile on Christmas morning, but on average, roughly every fifth present opened this Christmas will have come to you at least partway by air. And we're not talking about a certain magical sleigh pulled by reindeer. The second biggest and likely most noticed trend in holiday commerce over the last 20 years is a rapid growth of delivery of gifts via small package air freight carriers. Quite obviously, the growth is linked to and driven by the still mushrooming boom in online Christmas shopping. In the vast majority of cases, it continues to be far more efficient and cost-effective for companies to stock their brick-and-mortar stores using relatively old-fashioned 18-wheel trucks. That in part helps explain the continued and rapid growth of the trucking industry in recent years and the intense stress on trucking companies to hire more drivers and put more trucks on the road. But that, let's lose my place. But when it comes to fulfilling 2 billion or more individual orders placed directly with manufacturers or online retailers via the internet, each requiring delivery to a distinctly different doorstep somewhere, nothing is as efficient and as cost-effective as small package delivery via air. That's why more than 1,000 dedicated freighter aircraft from giant Boeing 747s, yay, and McDonnell MD-11s to single-engine Cessna 208s with all 9 passenger seats removed will be operating to and from within the United States virtually every day between now and Christmas. And it's why the bellies of nearly all 4,000 plus passenger aircraft in service with U.S. Airlines will also be unusually full on virtually every flight this month.
It still amazes me with things like Amazon, where you can, you order something and it literally, it's here the next day within the morning, when you can order up to 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. in the evening.
That's right, yeah.
I had same-day delivery on a thing on Amazon a couple of days ago.
Really?
Ordered in the morning, it arrived the afternoon. Yeah, guaranteed
Really?
same-day delivery.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Fan-flipping-tastic.
Hey, Pip, did you order it through the link on the PTUK website?
I hope you did.
Of course I did. So they've earned 0.0001.
Well done, Armando.
Every
Well
little
done.
non-existent penny helps.
And now Matt and Carlos can see what you ordered too.
Well, this is true. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Does it take batteries? Yeah, absolutely.
Well, there's much more to that story that I won't go into, but I sent the link to Carlos, and it was from Forbes magazine, and I just thought that, again, you can shoot me if you want and never invite me back, but I like that story so much.
Yeah,
better.
that's not going to happen. To be fair, Micah, you carry on. It's
Bit of off the cuff
yeah,
planning. That's
absolutely.
nothing
Yeah,
wrong.
so it's nothing like making producers nervous when you make it up as you go along.
It's
is it?
good. So next story is a bit of a cracker story for Captain Nick.
Oh, do I have to do this one?
But, Nick, Mr. Anderson, just
Okay.
get on with it.
Can you take your Christmas cracker on a plane? Are they talking about your girlfriend or what?
Oh, hello.
Rule, if you're flying this winter. So, if you're traveling by plane this festive season and planning to bring Christmas crackers with you, make sure you know the rules before you set off. Although the crackers may seem innocuous, some airlines consider them to be dangerous or explosive. So if you bring them along, you could find yourself in trouble at the airport. The rules seem to vary depending on the airline. For example, EasyJet allows you to bring 2 sealed boxes in your hand luggage, while British Airways only allow this in your checked bag. As for Ryanair and Norwegian, humbug, they won't allow them at all. Those who do allow you to bring the crackers have strict rules, including factors such as needing the boxes to be made by a commercial manufacturer and being sealed before and throughout your journey. Be mindful of what's in your crackers as well. For example, if the gifts are scissors or a screwdriver
Oh,
set,
yeah, of course.
you
Yeah.
can check the details on the back of the box, which usually lists the presents to expect once you pull them apart. Your best bet is to check your airline's rules before you start packing. So to make things a little bit easier, we've searched out some of the policies below. Can you take your Christmas crackers on a flight? EasyJet. You can bring up to 2 boxes max per person, provided these are packed in the manufacturer's original packing. They can be in your hand luggage or checked luggage. Find out more on the EasyJet website. British Airways. Yes, only in checked bags. You won't be allowed to have them in hand luggage. The airline's website states that crackers must be commercially manufactured. Homemade crackers not permitted. I think that's what commercially manufactured probably means. And must be for personal use.
Right. Okay.
Can
I've
I
never
interrupt
noticed
just
it.
for a moment, because
Yeah, go ahead.
here in the USA, most people won't know what you're talking about when you say a cracker. So could
Yeah,
you?
Micah, I
gonna
was
ask the question.
just going to ask.
I didn't think you Americans would have any idea what.
I know exactly what they are, but most
you
people
do?
won't. So it's probably they've never used.
But Micah, we actually refer to crackers in a very different sense, in that the southern, it's an expression in the South. And in the South, it's said with pride of someone from Florida or Georgia, them referring to themselves as a cracker. However, it's also very negatively used by certain races of white people. So they're
Right.
referred to as, so poor whites are referred to as crackers.
Okay, Pip, maybe you would like to describe to our the American contingent what we mean in the form of a Christmas cracker.
Oh gosh, where to start? Well, I mean, cracker. All sorts of connotations. There's a thing you put cheese on. It's a nut ball.
Right.
It's
Okay. Nev, perhaps I could trouble you to come up with.
It's my story. Get off, you lot. It's a cardboard tube with a small device in it that goes bang when you pull it apart, and inside is a paper hat, a small gift, and a stupid joke. Like, why are we all on this show?
It's basically.
I
a
don't know.
Christmas
I don't know, Nick. Why are we all on this stupid show?
Because it's Christmas.
You see, very good. Well done. Yes, award-winning. And that's about as good as the jokes get, actually, to be fair. Moving on. Yeah, do carry on, Nick.
Mine are little explosive devices, correct?
Essentially, yes.
That's
Essentially,
why they're called crackers, because they go crack.
yes, and that's kind of the point of the whole story, I suppose, is essentially you are taking explosive devices onto an aircraft, which I guess
No more than you get in a single matchstick, though.
True.
No.
Yeah.
Each cracker has a small amount of C4 in it.
Okay.
No, we did British Airways. Now, Ryanair won't allow these in either checked or cabin bags because they're miserable and they consider them to be dangerous goods. The airline also recommends you avoid wrapping presents as they may be unwrapped through airport security. We'll find out more from the Bar Humbug website. Norwegian. No. I thought the Norwegians were into Christmas. Obviously not. A spokesperson for the airline told Mirror Online that Norwegians consider crackers to be dangerous goods as they contain combustibles. However, the delightful and wonderful Virgin Atlantic say one box may be included in checked bags if the crackers are in their original sealed retail box. Find out more on the Virgin Atlantic website.
So essentially what we've learned from this story then, Nick, is basically that whilst Virgin Atlantic are okay and they will allow at least one, the best one, if you've got lots of crackers you need to take with you, the best people to fly with is essentially EasyJet because they're allowing 2 boxes.
Yeah, actually, but however, there is a caveat to that.
Okay.
You've got to make sure you can get them through aircraft security to get them to your aircraft. So, for example, Heathrow only allows 1 sealed box of crackers to be carried through security. Birmingham say 1 sealed box of crackers. Gatwick says 1 sealed box of crackers. So you might have the airline might say, yeah, but you might find you got a problem with security.
Now, what about saltines, Ritz crackers, Triscuits, thins?
You have explosive in those as well? Wow.
Well, they explode the next day, but only at your convenience.
Oh, okay.
It's only there for your personal use, Micah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also depends on where you're putting them.
Manchester, Liverpool, and East Midlands won't let you bring these through security in hand luggage, but you may be allowed to have them in your checked luggage, but that depends on the airline.
There we are. So essentially, if you are trying to take crackers through the airport and with an airline, perhaps you should double check with your airline before you do so to make sure that you're not going to have them confiscated. Because, I mean, you can get, some crackers and stuff. I remember having a fancy set of crackers here many years ago when I was a kid. And some of the gifts can be amazing.
Yeah, and some of the gifts can be really, really bad.
Yeah, indeed.
Anyway, with the size of the new Ryanair size of luggages, even if they allow them, it's too small. The
Good
crackers
point.
are too big to fit anyway.
You
so
can't
forget
take
about
them
it.
with you. You can't get them.
They're very easily crushed as well.
I get all my comedy material from all the jokes that are in the crackers.
I know. You've got a whole year's worth of jokes to put on Facebook, haven't you, as a result?
I thought that's what you did for a living, Nev, is that you wrote those jokes.
Oh, well, yeah, I sort of try and fit work in between that.
Right, yes, I know. He's a very busy man. What can we say?
Oh, blimey. So, moving on to the next story. And Pip, this one is for you.
You could
there
not
is.
have come to me at a worse point. My internet is Skyping like crazy. All right, let's give this a go. Which one am I doing?
This one happens to
The
be
Yorkshire Evening Post.
Yes, Yorkshire Evening Post. It's a nice story about Jet 2.
Yorkshire Evening Post. Okay, so this is from, and I've totally prepared for this. I've read this in advance. I know exactly what this story is about. What's this story about? Christmas comes early for brave little boys as they search for Santa with Leeds Airline Jet 2. 2 extraordinary brothers had the time of their lives when they took to the skies and got an early visit from Father Christmas. Harvey and George Hall, aged 9 and 6, both purely by chance, suffer from rare and complicated heart conditions which are life-limiting. Oh, well, thanks for the jolly story here, fellas. But their families say the boys just get on with it and are looking forward to Christmas as much as any other child. They were given an early Christmas surprise when they were among 150 well-deserving children to be chosen to enjoy a magical Santa flight, complete with elves, celebrities, presents, and a special visit from the main man himself. Main man Micah, what were you doing there?
He's playing Father Christmas.
Well, oh, Father Christmas, that main man. Oh, God, I didn't get that. Okay, the company teamed up with the Leeds Children's Charity and Lytham St Anne's Charity, Days of Sunshine, to take the children from West Yorkshire and the Northwest on the magical Search for Santa flight from Leeds Bradford International Airport. Harvey has congenitally corrected transposition of the great arteries, which affects less than 1% of children born with heart defects, as well as heart failure and needs a transplant. Oh, good Lord. George, who won a Yorkshire Child of Courage Award in October for bravery, has had several heart operations, but also suffers from lung disease, has a pacemaker, and at night sleeps on a ventilator. The boy's grandmother, Nicola Garbett, 48, from Skipton, told the Yorkshire Evening Post, "We told them they were going, and they were really, really excited. When they were on the plane, they just said it was the best thing ever." Oh. The celebrities were amazing with how they were with the children. It was a fantastic day because they look well, ride a bike, climb trees. It's easy to forget that they have a heart condition, so it was nice to spend time with other families in similar situations. Ashley Taylor-Dawson and Anthony Quinlan, Darren from Hollyoaks and Pete from Emmerdale, respectively, were on hand to start the Christmas sing-along. Once the aircraft was back on the ground, the children were treated to a special tea party back at Leeds Bradford Airport and were delighted to each receive a special present Santa had left for them. Oh. Well, that's a nice story, isn't it? That's kind of a bittersweet thing. But I'm glad that aviation was able to give them a little Christmas treat and a day to remember.
Indeed.
I think it's definitely one of those things that the kids miss now, is that ability to go on the flight deck. I do think that's really
it's a shame you can't do that anymore, because I got to do that once when I was very young, and there's nothing like it, is there?
Yeah.
No, I tell you what, though, we still have open flight deck doors because we don't actually have flight deck doors on my aeroplanes, and we have lots of kids. And I tell you what, hardly any of them come on board and are even remotely interested. They all got their headphones on and their iPads out or their iPhones or whatever. They come up the stairs, turn right, and don't even give a glance into the flight deck.
I don't.
That's because rich kid.
I was going to say, Captain Nick has sort of touched on a point here. And I choose my words here really carefully. Is it perhaps that these particular children aren't what I call your ordinary children, perhaps, who are perhaps more privileged than other children? So perhaps, I don't know, am I speaking out of turn? Essentially, what
probably Nick's... most of these kids, their weekly pocket money is probably more than I earn in a year.
More, yeah.
Well, if I stepped on board your Phenom 300, apart from having to duck, obviously when I go on board, I would come and see you on the flight deck, Pip. And
you'd be welcome, Carlos. But you'd have to put up with my questions. Have you ever been in a Turkish prison? Have you ever seen a grown man naked?
I think the flight deck would be the first stop, and then the coffee maker. If it's
of course, absolutely.
And the champagne bar.
And the flight attendants.
Indeed.
Anyway.
Well,
you don't have those, Pip, do you? Though? So no.
Well, I don't have them.
No.
Okay, next.
Okay. So next story, Brian, Mr. Coleman. The next story is for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should be insulted by this or not. First of all, you never sent me the URL, so I had to rely on our main man, Micah, to do this. And then this story has all about, 25 words in it. So I'm not sure if you're concerned over my ability to read or what. So, sheesh. And then, although I do learn something new, there is a website called heavy.com. Never heard of heavy.com before, but this story is brought to you by heavy.com. And it goes on. The 45 best aviation gifts for Christmas 2018. So I wonder which one I'm going to get from you guys. So whether a commercial pilot, active or retired military, or just a plain enthusiast. Are there excitable enthusiasts? Anyway, aviation captures the imagination in ways few other things do. If you're shopping for someone who loves all forms of flying machinery, here are no wonder you gave me the small article. Here are our picks for the best aviation gifts. And this is a real interesting list because it goes from $6 to $5,675. And there's a little slider where you can choose your price point and get the perfect gift for that aviation enthusiast.
Are we going to find out what they are then?
The most expensive being, I can see, I tried the slider. The Breitling, of course, is a Swiss watch. Navitimer World GMT watch. Looks awesome, actually.
Yeah, you could also get a nice bomber jacket for $899. You could get the winter hat with goggles.
Yeah, that's good. We should all have one of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, one of my favorite aviation gifts, I got it last year, in fact, from some close friends that knew I'm an aviation enthusiast, is similar to one they have up there. It's an altimeter.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I just love it.
Good. How high are you?
I'm at 1,500.
Very good.
Very good.
10 after 3 here.
Yeah.
So
I like
actually
the
like the
model
wine
of a
glasses at
Boeing
10.99.
787 you can buy, so you can set light to it yourself.
Okay.
I quite like the flying hat, the aviator winter hat. I like that. And the jacket, I'd definitely have the jacket. The Denny and Dora Shearling leather aviation jacket. I might have to add that to Gemma's list for this year. Although she'd probably tell me to...
Carlos, if we take that cub up with the windows open, we're going to need both of those things.
Yeah, true. Very true, Armando. Yeah, very, very true indeed.
Based on how organized Gemma is, you've probably already got your gifts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
true.
think it's the jacket, though, Micah.
No, is it not?
No, unfortunately.
Well, I'm certain Nev could get his London Heathrow throw pillow at $24.90. That would be kind
Now
of
you're
cool.
talking, Brian. This is my kind of language.
Yeah.
There's
I
a
want to know who's going to buy a Hustler,
I beg your pardon.
P50 Hustler at $169.95.
I'll get you one for Christmas.
I thought that was a special gentleman's magazine.
Oh, and you see the $42 Fisher Space Pen? I've been carrying one of these for years, although I didn't pay $42 for
No,
it.
I should hope not.
Filled with nitrogen.
I think one of the best gifts for you, Nick, is definitely the Boeing lap belt, seatbelt keyring holder. It's very good.
Boeing lap belt key. I can't even see it.
He's not even looking. He's not giving it a go.
Nev, if you like these kind of like stuff with airport codes, you should check the website called airporttag.com. They have all the series of everything from iPhone cases to pillowcases to whatever you want with any airport code. It's pretty cool, actually. And as a Swiss, as a Swiss, because I need to talk about the Breitling, because of course it was one of the reasons since I'm defending my country. Have you guys ever seen the Breitling limited edition by Swiss? They did when they introduced the 777-300ER. They actually partnered with Breitling, and they did this awesome limited editions. Only I think 777, obviously, models of a Breitling, which is fully black. It has the 777 as well, I think embossed behind it, and it cost obviously 7,777 euros.
Okay.
And you could buy it in the 777 only when you're flying with Swiss. I don't know if they run out. I didn't buy it because come on, guys.
Okay.
Every time I look at
Is-
Breitling watches, the decimal point's always in the wrong place. So it's bank balance after so.
Yeah, quite right. Oh dear.
So one of the other things that I wanted to mention, though, there's another really great website for people that want to give a great Christmas gift. And the Commemorative Air Force does this every year, and they refer to it as the 12 Planes of Christmas. And you can make a donation that supports the restoration of 12 different aircraft.
Oh, wow.
And I just think that that's a fantastic organization, and the money goes to a really good cause, and they do different planes every year. And I can get Carlos the URL to put in the show notes.
Yeah,
but
do that. Yeah,
it's
email it
definitely a
across.
great a great project.
That is a brilliant idea. Do you know what? Yeah, that is a good idea. A little bit of aviation restoration is if you've got a bit of spare money. If there is anybody left in the UK with some money left over now, we're post Christmas. It's just like, yeah. Whew.
So, Paul, do you want to take the Air New Zealand story?
There's so many jokes there still, like the Boeing paperclip ones that are easily bent.
And so you could hold it together,
right?
I doubt it. Pip, you're going to buy those Aviator Kids airplane wings? You get 20 in a pack. That'll just about manage your clan, wouldn't it?
Pip?
He stepped out for a moment.
He's there, but in mute.
Yeah.
I muted myself.
Oh,
what an ass!
And there we are talking about what you went to go off to do a moment ago. There was okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah. Paul, did you want to grab the Air New Zealand story?
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know if that's a Christmas gift. I mean, I'm someone who's not a big fan of having Wi-Fi in flights. So I'll state that at the beginning. So Air New Zealand, whom we mentioned for their awesome Christmas ad earlier, decided to offer to giving away free in-flight Wi-Fi to all passengers on all Wi-Fi equipped international flights. I don't know how many aircraft that is. Actually, if it was BA, it would be one. Between December 1st, before December 1st to the 28th of February, they have a very extended Christmas period in New Zealand.
Nev, you've got a funny colour. Are you all right there?
Yeah, I can't find the words.
No, okay, all right. Anyway, carry on, Paul.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, by the way, the article criticizes Lufthansa as well. Don't worry, Nev. The story is giving it away for free. I was actually kind of baffled by the pricing. Pricing is normally $9 per hour, $30 for a short-haul flight to Australia or the Pacific Islands, and $40 for a long-haul flight. And they're giving that away. Some people, actually, the author, I need to scroll to find his name, Steve Biddle, says that maybe it is because actually the Wi-Fi actually never worked since the beginning. They had like a lot of teething problem when they introduced it to the 777. They say that Lufthansa also had it. And trust me, I've flown exactly 10 Lufthansa flights in the past 10 days, and neither of these flights had the Wi-Fi that works. So maybe is it a fake Christmas gift? But anyway, it's a cool idea to give that to all the passengers. The author adds, if indeed passengers were disappointed or frustrated when trying out Air New Zealand's in-flight Wi-Fi, it does make me wonder if they would be then willing to pay for the service in the future. So yeah, if it's free and then it doesn't work, we'll actually sign up after the 1st of March. And then he goes like talking about all the issues that the 777-300ER's Wi-Fi with Air New Zealand has. And well, there you go. Would you like to have a free Wi-Fi on BA, Nev? It would be something on their single plane. They have that. No, I'm sorry. I'm stopping it.
Yeah, I'll probably burn through all the bandwidth in no time at all. I expect.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know how do we feel. I mean, I have to say when we came out to Pittsburgh, because I was flying on my own, I must admit I did rather enjoy having in-flight Wi-Fi with United. It wasn't.
So there's something you liked on the 757?
There was, yeah, absolutely. That was the only thing I liked. But I have to confess, it really was rather cool to be able to sit there and send WhatsApps to people. I know you wouldn't have been able to stream any video or anything like that, but the ability, especially when you're traveling on your own, the ability to be able to sort of communicate with everybody on the ground who was, especially in my case where it was the first time I'd done a big flight.
I believe the American airlines are doing that very well because they're giving you like this very clear set of different pricing. They say if you just want to do messaging, actually even airlines offer that for free. Then they're like tiered. Like streaming, I don't think it actually is available, but you can actually, depending on what kind of stuff you can do, because in Europe and sometimes some of the Middle Eastern carriers in Asia, it basically tells you, oh, you got to pay for 200 megabytes. And you're like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
Do I have 5 minutes? Do I have like an entire flight? It doesn't mean anything. I love how the US are doing. I forgot to say that the article mentions that it's due apparently to the Inmarsat GX satellite. So this is clearly a pure satellite system that doesn't rely on the ground relays.
Yeah, that's quite cool.
I'd like to point out the reason BAs doesn't work very well is they still use an actual wire, and eventually it breaks.
Yeah, once they've uncoiled all 5 nautical miles worth of it, then they're limited to 31,000 feet or whatever.
Do you know how many wires it actually takes for BA to use when they're flying from London to JFK?
That's a good point. Yes, and they don't call it
It's
fly
only
by
one
wire
if
for
it's
nothing,
long
do they?
enough.
Actually, I was just checking out BA's website, and obviously the fleet of aircraft they have, they've got 12 A380s BA. And how many guys out of the 12 A380s have BA got Wi-Fi on?
Presumably the one that Paul.
No,
Paul was
better.
mentioning. Oh, is it?
Zero.
3.
3?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
3
Oh, it wasn't the case before. Oh,
out of 12.
So congrats to BA. Hats off.
Yeah, they've got 3 that have got Wi-Fi.
They do
that
slightly
sort
better.
of
They do
works.
slightly better on their 747-400s, where out of the 17 they have still, 15 have
6?
Wi-Fi.
Do they?
Yeah.
Well, how is that possible that an old dinosaur like the 747 has Wi-Fi and the A380 doesn't?
I think it's just
What's going on there?
They just stuck it on the wrong airplane.
Yeah, the engineers.
They stuck it on the bottom rather than the top, the aerial.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
The
No, but
AAA
I think honestly that BA announced that when they announced that they want to prolong the life of the 747s, they are refurbishing them faster. Obviously, the 380s are already kind of newer.
Oh,
so
I
they-
see. Right.
Probably
yeah.
that's why.
So
Right,
essentially,
Whichever one was refurbished most recently.
yeah. So the 74s have been refurbed most recently.
they'll probably be
They
retiring.
refurbished just as they're taking them out of service. That's
Yeah,
a
of
good
course.
idea.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I was going to say
Absolutely.
they'll probably be retiring the 380 soon anyway. I mean,
Isn't Virgin kind of taking on again one of these old 340s? The worst looking planes.
Too
in the
late.
air?
We've taken on several. Keep up. Keep up with it. God, I mean, that was ages ago. You run a podcast? I don't know. Yeah, because the appalling serviceability rate of the Boeing bin liner. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Trent, Rolls Royce.
Ah, the
Yeah.
engines. Ah,
Boeing,
yes.
American.
Okay.
I don't know. On this story, I'm on the other side of the
I'm
coin.
s-
Like
I'm Swiss. I'm neutral. I don't talk about
I live my life with two mobile phones, and I'm connected all the time. I think if I'm gonna zoom through the air at 30,000 feet in a pressurized tube, I don't mind being disconnected for a couple hours.
I agree.
Here. I completely agree with you. So looking forward to that time in the air where you don't have to deal with any of that stuff. And
I just like
it does work, which very rarely happens on a U.S. carrier. I still say, sorry, I couldn't get in touch. It wasn't working, and everything's fine.
Yeah, I just like to tweet to the airline going, how come I haven't had my dessert yet?
Right.
Let's go.
yeah. Oh, I don't know.
I thought you get your desserts first, Nick, in your particular position on the aircraft.
No, sadly, we get leftovers.
The same
No, but
for cabin
actually,
crew,
I
too.
find it handy, especially with U.S. airlines, with the terrible service and always being late and delays. And then when you find out you're going to be delayed, you can be online already booking your next flight while you're in the air and
Yeah,
taking care
true.
of it. And that's what you need it for. Because it's
Oh,
the only
that's
way you
good.
get
Yeah,
service.
that's useful. Yeah.
And there's another use for Wi-Fi. The only one I actually use because I hate Wi-Fi in the air is listening to live ATC, the app.
Ah,
Yeah,
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 so you
yeah.
listen to it. What? Yeah, coming in.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that's a
That's
very
very
plain geeky thing
Yeah.
to do. To be fair,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, that's the way you can tell if the captain's telling the truth on his PA when he tells you why it's diverted. You already know he's had a double hydraulics failure, and he just said, the weather's a bit bad, and we thought it'd be nicer to go to this place.
Yeah, and I think that's the reason why United turned off Channel 9. They used to do that all the time. Yeah, let's just get rid of it.
do away with it. Start. Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
Oh, brilliant.
Anyway,
So the last story we've got in the news segment for this festive show, it's one that Pip actually pinged over to us earlier this week, and it's the 16 movies pilots and aviation enthusiasts love.
Okay.
So let's see just how many of these films
Are we going to do it as a
seen.
sort of a countdowny type thing? Are we going to do the full?
I don't know. I mean, should we start from the top and move on, work our way down?
Hang on, I'll play the stinger. Here we go. He says it's a bit quiet.
Bit quiet, that is. Bit quiet. So
Okay,
for the hard of hearing passengers.
There we go.
So In at the top, or in the first place, the film. This was from 1983. This one is called The Right Stuff.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
great.
oh, the right stuff. I'm sorry, very bad joke.
Oh, New Kids on the Block. Bring it
Very
on,
good,
man.
very good, Paul. Very
I'm
good.
impressed,
So,
yeah.
Nev, what's the second one down there?
Yeah, second one is Wings from 1927, which was a silent film set during World War One, and Wings became the standard to which future aviation movies would be held for its innovative aerial shooting and realistic depiction of flights and dogfights.
What are they doing reels for?
So, Armando, what's the next film on the list?
How ironic that I'm getting this one. Matt should have gotten it. It's Top Gun from
Yeah.
1986.
Or as I keep calling it, Top Gear. But anyway, there we are.
And if you haven't seen this film in 3D yet,
Oh, yeah,
You
it is amazing. You
gotta
need
do
to
it.
if you haven't done. Anyway, on to the next. Carlos, who's next?
Micah, you're next.
From 1954, featuring John Wayne, the high and the mighty. Disaster strikes in a DC-4 airliner making a routine trans-Pacific flight, and a washed-up co-pilot, played by John Wayne, is forced to take a command and save the lives of the crew and passengers in this drama-filled thriller. I love that film. I've seen it so many times. I can whistle the tune.
Captain Nick. What's the next one?
This is, of course, the 1955 movie, The Dam Busters, based on the true account story about the British scientist, the marvelous Mr. Wallace, came up with an ingenious design to bomb German dams during World War II, and the bomber crews assigned to carry out the risky attack. My favourite ever movie.
And Pilot Pip, what is the next one on the list?
The next one is a film I've honestly never heard of. It's from 2005, and it's called 16 Right. And the little brief synopsis here says, 16 Right is a documentary about local airports told through the history of Southern California's Van Nuys Airport.
Van Nuys.
All right. Sounds fascinating.
Pip, you've got to see it. It's actually a fabulous film. It's really great. It's brilliant. It's a documentary, but it will bring a tear to your eye at the same time.
And on the Airplane Geeks podcast, the producer, one of those titles of the movie, he was on the show, Brian Terwilliger.
Wow.
Is that a real name?
Yeah, his last name is Terwilliger.
Amazing.
And the only reason why I remember it is because it's such an unusual name. There's so few and I've booked many guests on the show. There are so few that I actually remember their names, but for whatever reason, I remember his. He was a great guest.
Was he the guy? He was also a producer on one of the Star Trek movies, and he flew Spitfires to Israel.
No, that was someone else. I can't remember his name. I was in touch with him. He wrote a book, and there was a film about him as well.
He was a great guest. That one really stands out in my memory.
He was super. He also wrote a science fiction novel back in the 50s that I happen to have, and he let me mail it to him and autographed it for me.
Oh, wow.
Climaticon.
Yeah.
That was the name of it.
So, Brian, the next film on the list.
Well, had you sent me the list ahead of time, I would have been able to pull it up. So I don't have access to it.
It's Memphis Belle, Brian, 1990. So, what is the next film, Brian?
It's a Memphis Belle.
Ah,
1990.
1990. Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll read the synopsis, shall I? It sort of basically says casualties are high at the height of bombing missions in World War II, and the American crew of the B-17 bomber Memphis Belle has one mission left on its tour of duty. The plot of the film follows the U.S. Army Air Corps bombing crew during its harrowing and historic final bombing raid over the heavily fortified city of Bremen in Germany.
Awesome film. I love that film.
Yeah,
really,
I
really
must
good.
admit I've not seen it either, but I've seen.
You've not seen the Memphis
What?
Belle?
Okay,
Matt
look, come on, look. I
Smith.
watched
Whoa,
Top
stop
Gun
the
for the
podcast.
Are you
Matt's not seen Memphis.
joking?
No, I genuinely haven't seen Memphis Belle. I know of it. I know of the.
Before.
I would say anybody who hasn't seen Memphis Belle, skip it and go to the last film on this list, which is depicts that kind of flying in a much better way.
So the next one on the list, Paul. This one is pretty iconic. Come on.
Yeah. Look, if I had to make a top 16 list, I would list 16 times that one, Airplane from 1980.
Airplane.
I had The Fish, and it was a bad week for me to quit podcasting, actually. Yeah, so it's a fantastic movie. I think I know it by heart. It's probably the movie I've seen the most in my life. And then the second one would be Airplane 2, the one that just follows. So yeah, awesome movie. It's just, and I know it kind of spoofs all these disaster movies that came just prior in the 70s, which are also very, very cool. Though the one with Alain Delon in the Concorde is completely batshit stupid. But anyway.
Surely you can't be serious, Paul.
What?
Surely you can't be serious.
I've never seen that either.
Oh, seriously?
No, genuinely,
Oh,
I've
my
never
word.
seen. Again, I've heard all about it, but I've never
He's seen all the bus and coach movies, like you know,
On the buses.
going on a summer holiday or whatever. But
Oh, I'm a massive
Yeah,
Cliff
Cliff
Richard
Richard.
fan.
Airplane. Is that what he just said? He's not seen Airplane.
No,
Yeah,
I
no.
didn't. I've never
Yeah,
seen
well,
it.
Carlos, bring back Simon with you.
I think we better. Oh, right, we'll move on to the next one on the list. This one is from 2014, Flying the Feathered Edge, a Bob Hoover project. World War II veteran and renowned test pilot Bob Hoover is considered among most to have revolutionised modern aerobatic flying. Flying the Feathered Edge, the Bob Hoover project, is a documentary that tells the story of the gregarious aviation legend from his first flying lessons before the war to combat to his careers as a test pilot and air show performer. And I've got to admit, I haven't seen that one.
Said it when you called him a pest Tyler.
I'll save it on for you, Nick, that one. The next one on the list, Nev. What's the next one on the list?
Yes, Air Force One from 1997. In this action-packed thriller, Air Force One is hijacked by a group of terrorists, leaving it up to the President of the United States alone to save his family, and culminating with an iconic mid-air plane-to-plane rescue scene, which I thought was a bit far-fetched, I have to say, when I saw it. But nonetheless, it's good viewing.
Just a smidgen, Nick was saying there. Yeah, absolutely. I have seen that one, believe it or not.
Oh, well done. Brave. Oh, thanks. God,
Okay.
God blimey. So, Armando, next one.
This is another movie that I love. Back when no special effects, just a lot of flying. It's 1970, Tora, Tora, Tora.
Okay.
Very good.
This is being we're recording the show on December 5th, so it's really important that if those of you who haven't seen this, go back and watch it, because this 2 days from the day we're recording this, December 7th, is what would that be, 60, 70 years?
Oh, wow. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, so it says recounting the events of December the 7th,
Pearl
1941,
Harbor, yeah.
and the days leading up to the aerial attack on Pearl Harbor. Tora, Tora, Tora tells the story of both the Japanese and American sides in
I've seen
historical
that. It's
detail.
awesome film.
Yeah.
Very, very good film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I must admit I haven't seen that one. It sounds like I'm going to be watching a lot of films over Christmas, never mind eating food.
So who's up next?
By
Micah.
the way, before we go on to the next one, Pip, that film you were talking about was called Above and Beyond, and the author and the star in it and the guest on the show was Harold Livingston.
Ah, there you go.
What a memory.
Yeah.
He Googled it. Come on.
I went to the Airplane Geek site and looked it up.
That was a great episode. I do remember that one.
Right, so who's up next?
I
It's,
don't know.
Micah.
Apollo 13 from 1995, and I'm not even going to tell you what it's about because everybody knows, and it was very, very well done.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Hey!
Hey.
Woo! Who we got next? Captain Nick. What's the next one?
Now, I used to like this movie a lot. Spirit of St. Louis, 1957. This film, named after the plane used in the first successful transatlantic flight. You see, that's exactly the reason I hate it now, is because it wasn't the first successful transatlantic flight. It was the first solo crossing of the Atlantic, and it merely was a race to win a prize flying from New York to Paris. The first successful crossing of the Atlantic was by Alcock and Brown, a British pair, flying an old World War I bomber. So there you go, Spirit of St. Louis, not the first successful transatlantic flight, but it is a biography of an aviation hero, Charles Lindbergh, who later in life became quite controversial when he supported the wrong side of the Second World War.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yeah.
So,
okay.
Pilot Pip, next one.
Yes, sir. This one, I'm not so familiar with this one.
This
12
is my
O'clock High.
favorite film.
12
well,
o'clock
why
high.
didn't-
It was
talk about it?
required watching for officer cadets.
That wasn't me. Micah, why didn't you talk about this one? 12 O'Clock High.
1949, Gregory Peck playing General Frank Savage. It's an incredible film. I've seen it probably as many times or more than Captain Nick has seen it. And as Captain Nick says that the Dam Busters is his favorite, this is one of my favorite flying films of all time. I just love it. And if you haven't seen it, take the time to watch it. It uses actual combat footage of B-17s in the air during World War II. It's an unbelievable film.
So,
Yeah, I'm with
And
Micah
Micah,
on this one.
example of leadership.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm with Mike on this one. Memphis Belle is good. 12 O'clock High. We still show it to some of our Air Force officers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
a marvelous example of leadership and the pitfalls you can get into when you're trying to look after a group of men, many of whom are being killed.
so the
And
next
on the Airplane Geeks podcast, Micah read a story over how I got involved in aviation. It, of course, was because of my dad, who was in the Air Force, and we would watch World War II movies. And this, I clearly remember being was one of them. And Micah so brilliantly described how I would be sitting on the couch, and I'd put my feet in my father's wingtip shoes to pretend that they were the rudders, and he was teaching me to fly the aircraft in the movie scenes. And this absolutely brings back so many great memories of that special moment with my dad. And Micah, again, thank you so much for reading that story for me.
Thank you for
brilliant.
asking me to.
So, Brian, the next one on the list, which you
Since Micah sent me the URL, I'm now caught up. So it's The Aviator.
Yeah.
So from 2004. So in the 30s and 40s, the eccentric billionaire Howard Hughes helped to push the boundaries of aviation, forming the Hughes Aircraft Company. So what
All I can remember about that movie were bottles and bottles of urine.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yummy.
I thought the Aviator was a hotel on the perimeter of Farnborough Airport, but clearly not.
Yeah, and the bottles of urine is because, I don't know, whenever I see a Leonardo DiCaprio film, I just get in a pissy mood.
Oh, dear.
Oh, come on, guys. It's Scorsese. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the Spruce Goose? It used to be, I remember 20 years ago, I saw it next to Queen Elizabeth on, was it Long
Queen
Beach?
Mary.
Queen Mary, yeah. Long Beach, you know,
In Long Beach,
California. It was this
absolutely.
kind of dome thing. I don't know if it's still there, but it was awesome as a kid. I still remember it was awesome.
It's up in Portland now, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the Queen Mary is still there. And they have a really great rate if you want to stay there over Christmas as a hotel guest.
Excellent.
But
No,
the Spruce
remember-
Goose has moved.
Remember, we said earlier that the best thing to do over the 25th is actually to fly because it's the best rates, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely.
So, Paul, what's the last film on our list?
Hell's Angels, 1930. I hope you've seen that.
No.
I mean, honestly, for me, it's one of the best movies as well. I'm probably not the best on that list, but I think it's a story of two brothers who are joining the British Royal Flying Corps at the start of World War I, for once, and not the World War II movie. I also used to watch World War II movies with my dad. Never became anything with aviation, though, with it. And I think they volunteer to a very risky mission, and it's like, I believe one of the best things is the complex battles that you see on the air. It's really, it's dated a bit, but it's one of the best movies in this list. Do you agree, guys?
Well, and what's interesting
Yeah, I
about
think so.
it,
And I was going to say because with Howard Hughes directing it,
Yeah.
he was very meticulous about it all. And it says here that the film cost $4 million to shoot, which is roughly $57 million in today's money, and took 2.5 years to shoot. So can you imagine the amount of film he must have gone through?
Real World War I aces were actually flying the aircraft.
and what's interesting about it is the film, The Aviator, the primary topic of that film is about Howard Hughes making Hell's Angels. So that really is a kind of a fascinating combination to have them together. And the film scenes, the flying scenes that they used in Hell's Angels were used in many, many other films afterwards as stock footage because the flying film sequences were so good.
Yeah.
Captain Nick, are you
However-
upset that the Battle of Britain wasn't on the list?
Not so much, but Blue Max deserves to be. But the Battle of Britain, I think, was a classic movie, definitely. And the Blue Max is another one if you haven't seen one or see one.
They were both good.
Can I interrupt for a second?
Yes, do.
I brought something with me. I've been trying to keep it locked up in my suitcase ever since, but they've been struggling to get out. My two little pets I brought with me.
Oh no.
My pet dog Al,
Right.
and my stalker Steph. Are you guys there?
Good evening. Yes, sorry I've come late.
Yay!
Yeah, I made it too. If you guys can hear me.
Yeah, we can.
Yay!
Hi guys.
Merry Christmas.
Ho ho ho!
Hey.
Feliz Navidad.
So have I missed anything?
Not much.
You've missed your hairdresser, Al.
Yeah.
Al, we're just about to start military news, so you're just in
Yeah,
time.
well, just before that, I thought that there was two very notable omissions from the list.
Okay.
One of them is Reach for the Sky.
Good one.
What, S Club 7?
And
that
the
bloke
other
in there
one,
is always legless.
yeah, absolutely. And the other one is a film that you may or may not have seen called Cone of Silence.
No, I've not heard of that one. But then, you know, you're talking to a guy who hadn't seen Top Gun
heard of the book.
until this year.
Yeah, well, it's the film of the book, and it's a very good film actually.
No,
I've got two words for you: pushing tin.
Oh, yeah, that's
Oh,
not,
that
but
was
that's a good
very
one.
funny.
Wow, one of the worst aviation movies ever made. Just
Yeah, that would be in my other list.
yeah.
Alongside Carry On Up the Airport with Sid James and Hattie Jakes.
Or
Steph,
Carry
have
On
you-
Up the Tower.
Yeah, okay. Al's in, everyone.
Moving on. Moving on.
Oh, matron.
Steph, have you got any
nurse the
aviation
screen.
movies you want to mention?
Well, I have no idea which ones you guys already mentioned because I kind of came in late for that. So
What's your
Largely
favourite?
American ones.
what's that?
Largely American ones.
Oh, American ones. Nah, we'll just move on to the next topic. How about that?
Okay, fair enough.
I'll add
Doesn't
one
have
more.
Time to watch movies.
Richard Dreyfuss in 1989, the movie Always, about the fire attack bombers.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah,
that was
great
recent.
flying movie.
Oh yeah. I do remember that. It's very good. Doesn't he have a breakup with his girlfriend or something?
Yeah, no, I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, sort of.
Can I offer two more?
Yeah, do.
One of them is very topical because it's one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies, as well as being an aviation movie. That's Die Hard 2.
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
yes.
good.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm glad that one got mentioned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also Air America, I thought was pretty decent.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's a
that was
really-
it was okay.
So,
Yeah, I regularly get a Buddhist to bless my airplane.
right, of course, yes, indeed. Nev, have you seen any of these films?
Well, no, only a handful of them actually. But it's Christmas is always a good time, isn't it, to go and revisit some of these on.
Yeah.
Get the VHS recorder back out again.
Yeah,
See-
indeed. Apparently,
see
I
what-
need to go and watch Airplane by the sound of it.
Yes, you certainly do.
Yeah, that's my Christmas viewing. I think that
There's
needs to be-
another
Can
one
you
that I
imagine
love
when
too.
they were shooting Airplane, what it must have been like on the set and all the rest of it? It must have been an
Absolute
absolute scream,
hoot.
and
Yeah,
it must
I
have
bet.
taken them ages to shoot it because
Yeah.
it's just
Well,
great stuff.
I will
isn't it?
say, and Micah might have already mentioned this, but did you bring up 0 Hour, Micah?
Haven't talked about 0 Hour, but not yet.
So watch 0 Hour because that's the movie that Airplane is largely based on.
Yeah.
And it's not done as a comedy, but if you know Airplane, you will laugh through the whole thing, and it will be very familiar. And it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, because they copied it literally in
Almost
places
verbatim.
word for word. I
Yeah.
mean, Airplane was
The dialogue is exactly the same.
Is
in a lot of
it?
places.
Yeah.
I must admit, I am very concerned about Pip at the moment because this is the second time that he's had to leave to go to the toilet during this recording.
Well, he's got to that funny age, isn't he? You know.
Can I present Exhibit A?
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Right. Oh,
Well,
you
if
see,
that's come from where I think it's come from, Pip, it probably
It
is an
has.
exhibit.
Guys, what do you think about? I mean, besides United '93, which of course is very somber, what do you think
yeah.
about Sully?
I thought it was a very good film.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
excellent.
Yeah.
I mean, it portrayed the incident well enough, I thought. I didn't find it very gripping because we all knew the story.
Well, it's like Titanic. You knew how it was going to end.
Oh, Apollo 13, the same. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I didn't know enough about Apollo 13 to really,
of course.
That was brilliant. All the behind scenes of how the engineers, sorted out how they were going to get it back. But the Sully movie, I kind of knew the story backwards already.
So the dog Sully, I believe, has been getting more airtime recently than President Bush. So,
yeah.
Are you all familiar with the dog Sully?
Yeah, the service dog.
Yes. Yeah. Quite a cute little chap.
Yeah, no, definitely that.
And I will say that one other film, as long as we're talking about Apollo 13 and current films, there is one film, a new one about, reasonably new, about called First Man. And if you get a chance to see that over Christmas, don't.
No. Right.
You know, Micah, I was thinking about this the other day, and I remembered that you really didn't like it, but I thought, I don't know what your problem with it is. I thought it was quite good.
Well, Matt Bunting-Frame and I did a review that I think Nev has and will probably be played sometime in the future, so you'll hear the complete review. Do you have it, Nev?
Yeah, no, we've got it.
Yep.
No, it is here. Yeah, but we're playing it out in a
future.
Yeah, in fact, actually, it's one of the.
They're going to have to pass it through their lawyers first.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going out in the one that precedes this particular episode. So it's.
So that is where we're going to bring the commercial news segment to a close. But we have got coming up something very special for you next. We've got a little segment that's coming up from Micah. But first, we have a little sort of snippet of some comedy content to play out, which is, this is interesting.
Well, and this was actually sent in by some guy named Nev, but don't worry, because he has done a little introduction for it.
Hi everyone, it's Nev here in the Nev Tech Studio. This is where it all happens on a Friday night at 7 o'clock, and it's my great pleasure to give you a little bit of an insight as to how it all goes together. Well, of course, when I first met Matt and Carlos about just over 2 years ago now, I was very impressed with their professionalism. They seemed to get on very well. They never had a cross word at each other, and they must rehearse for hours and hours before they go on air. But as I've been broadcasting with them on the show, things don't quite go quite according to plan, as you'll see.
Good, he's read the show notes just like I have.
Have you read the show notes?
Of course I have.
I hope you have, Matt, because there are some things in there you need to read.
Yes, I noticed there was some stuff about, like, play this, do that. Maybe the sound does that.
Barclays, give me money. Money!
I can't, dude. I can't do stuff like that on the fly. Did I mention I'm crap at aviation? I test because he's on a fibre connection where he is. Oh, you disappeared then. Hello.
Nev has read his show notes. Even Sue has read the show notes for this week's show.
I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Oh, very good.
For one moment, not so long back, when you said something on the show, and I was like, God, he's actually knows stuff.
Yeah. No, that was my one nugget of information.
Yeah.
Mind you, we stopped using that microphone because it was
the stories, and I've taken the time to label said pictures with the words Story 11 Pick, Story 11 Pick 2, Story 9 Pick. They're in the email that I sent to you.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's what I had the other week.
Oh, you mean there wasn't really anything wrong? You were just doing it for sympathy.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Did you get the email right, Owen?
You're right. It's 2:15. Do you want me to press the go button?
Yeah, you can press the go live button.
Okay. Well, I'm just constantly professional. I don't know what the problem is there.
You're like a couple of children, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Old married couple, I think. More like we are.
Well, yeah.
I would say thanks for that, Nev, but I don't mean it. So
you wouldn't believe we've known each other so long. I don't know.
I know.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys and girls. Just a little insight into what goes on before we go live.
Yeah.
And Matt presses the live button.
Yeah, I have to say it's a lot easier now.
Yeah, it's very much easier.
Yes, so more of those to come later on in the show. But,
so we're going to hand things over to Nev to introduce the next segment on the show.
Oh, I'm very glad you told me about that because
It's That's all right. I'm not sure what he's referring to either, Nev, so it's going to come as a huge surprise to me as well.
It's in the show notes.
Is it? Okay, thanks, Al. Yeah. Is it in the show notes? Is it actually in the show notes?
Okay, so up next then, up next is a very special Jingle Bells segment, which has always been sent in, as always, by our main man, Micah.
I'm with you. Okay.
And it's a little Christmas story, especially for us here at PTUK and for everyone listening around the world.
Moo Goo Guy Christmas in 3, 2. So it's Saturday, 24 November. I get the email from Carlos. We're going to do another Christmas show. Not going to be live this year, so we're going to record it early, 5 December. And you're invited. Okay, great. So I have to rearrange my schedule a bit, change an appointment or two, and I can make it. Not a problem. Frankly, I'm thrilled. I make the changes and let Carlos know that I'm in. And then it hits me. Oh my gosh, Carlos didn't say anything, but he's going to expect another Christmas story. For heaven's sake, what am I going to write about? Gee, Carlos, thanks for the invite. I mean, I like to write and sometimes think I'm not bad at it. But I've always said I write from inspiration, not perspiration. It takes me weeks, sometimes months for a story to form. Form may not be the right word. Maybe congeal would better define my process. I've only got 10 days. 10 days, not just to come up with the idea, but to write it, edit it, and then record it. And I have no ideas. So I'm thinking about it and try to come up with something. Everyone's heard about my filet-of-fish sandwich story. Twice, in fact. Okay, I've told them about the Beth phone call. What the heck can I write about? I'm pondering this hard. I think about it as I'm driving, as I'm watching TV, as I'm listening to podcasts. Geez, I'm thinking about it as I'm taking a shower, even as Captain Nick might put it, at my convenience. This task has taken over my life. And then it hits me. I've got it. But it's Tuesday morning, 0300, 27 November. I just turned off the TV, turned off the lights, and the idea struck me. I know if I don't get it down, it's going to disappear. So thanks for inviting me, Carlos. You know, there are many more fun reasons to be kept up all night. But let's see where this takes us. You know, for a guy who doesn't celebrate Christmas and has for years said that he really hates Christmas, I seem to have an awful lot of Christmas traditions. Some of you may recall one of my traditions that goes back over 4 decades. One, only 11 or so years. Well, the one I'm going to tell you about today is so stereotypical that it's embarrassing. But you know, embarrassment hasn't stopped me from telling you things before, so why should it now? I mean, we're all friends and family here, right? You're not going to judge me. Well, at least not any more than you already do. So let me tell you about another tradition, one that goes back almost 60 years, something I try to do every Christmas. I was 3 years old. Well, I think I was 3, maybe 4. The memories are hazy, but some of them I can still see in my mind's eye. The family was gathered together somewhere on Long Island in New York. This family gathering was a bit unique. I'm not sure about your family, but in my family, except for special occasions, when my extended family would gather, it would usually be either just my mother's side or just my father's side. I mean, sure, for weddings, bar mitzvahs, etc., everyone was there, but it wasn't typical. But this gathering was everyone. Both sets of grandparents. My aunts and uncles from my mom's side. My great-aunt and uncle from my dad's side, and a few cousins from both sides. You know, it's funny, it wasn't until recently that I learned my grandparents were good friends. They used to go out together all the time after they met through my mom and dad. My grandfathers would go fishing together. The reason I didn't know was because my maternal grandparents moved to Florida when I was about 11, and my paternal grandfather, Grandpa Max, died when I was 14, only 18 months after our first flight together. Grandpa Max and I had a special bond. I mean, we were really close, and he had a major impact on my life. When I think back on it, I can't believe he was only with me for my first 14 years. I still think about him every day, and I have proudly worn his signet ring every day since he left us. I still miss him. But let me get back to this family gathering. You see, it's also my first memory of being at a restaurant, a Chinese restaurant. a regular place my grandparents would go to often. Now you have to understand, this memory is hazy. I remember being there like this many times, and a couple of times on Christmas Day. But I won't lie to you, it all blends together. But Chinese food runs in my blood. I mean, I have to have it a couple of times a month, but it's especially important to me on Christmas. Now back then, the only kind of Chinese food you could find in the States was Cantonese style. Thinking back to that restaurant, back when I was 3, I can see the huge silver tureens of wonton soup filled with roast pork and some mysterious green leafy vegetables. There were towering, shiny, stainless steel dishes of egg rolls, chicken chow mein, roast pork almond ding, lobster Cantonese style, pepper steak, butterfly shrimp, subgum fried rice, pork egg foo young, beef lo mein, mugugai pan, white rice. All of it served family style and shared around the table. I loved it all, right down to the duck sauce and hot mustard. I was hooked. I distinctly remember Grandpa Max taking a piece of lobster Cantonese. I went to hand him a lobster fork. He said to me, "Thanks, Micah, but an old sailor like me doesn't need a lobster fork." He didn't. He picked it clean with a full-size fork. Now, to many of you, it may sound kind of strange, a Jewish family eating Chinese food. After all, it's not kosher. Well, that's not necessarily true. There is definitely kosher Chinese food around, especially in the New York City area. Nonetheless, many Jews don't keep kosher. I never have. But Jews being fans of Chinese food dates back to the late 19th century. You see, Jewish and Chinese immigrants lived in close proximity to one another on the Lower East Side of Manhattan for many years. While Italians ran restaurants primarily for other Italians, and Germans had many places that would only serve Germans, most often Chinese restaurant owners were far more open to customers of all ethnic backgrounds. And the stereotypical tradition of Jews going out for Chinese food on Christmas Day? Well, it came about naturally, as typically no other restaurants are open on Christmas. The stereotype of Jews and Chinese food is a long-standing one. In fact, it's so pervasive that back in 1969, when Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir was going to visit Richard Nixon in the White House for the first time, the joke going around the country was that Nixon, a well-known anti-Semite as proven by the White House tapes, was going to take her out for Chinese food rather than host a White House dinner. Chinese food has been in my blood since my first experience with it when I was 3. Whenever I move to a new place, one of the first things I do is find a Chinese restaurant. It wasn't easy when I was in Athens, Ohio. At first, there was an awful place called Hop Sings, after the character from the TV show Bonanza. Right about the time I left, though, Lamb's Garden opened up. But I was off to Pueblo, Colorado, where the pickings were the worst I ever found. Sure, Pueblo, Colorado had a terrific aircraft museum and great Mexican food. But there was only one Chinese restaurant, and it was miserable, the worst I've ever had, although I could find a few things that were tolerable to satisfy my cravings. Have I ever told you about my brother Seth? He's my youngest brother, and we're not in touch much anymore, but that's a story for another time. When he was an undergraduate at his education program in Ohio, he took an internship in Pueblo while I was living there. He stayed with me for about a month, and about 3 weeks into it, he was getting a hankering for Chinese food. See, I told you this ran through familial blood. Seth asked me if I knew of a Chinese restaurant nearby. Well, he's my brother, and I couldn't lie to him, and I said, yes, I do. He asked if we could go, and I said, sure. So we went to that miserable Chinese restaurant. I ordered a couple of things on the menu that I knew were semi-palatable. Seth ordered, well, I don't remember what he ordered, but I knew what he was getting, and I knew it would be appalling. Seth took a bite and asked, Micah, this is terrible. It all is. Why did you bring me here? I explained that as an education major, I thought this was part of his education and would be important to him in the future. Confusing, right? He was confused too. Seth said, huh? Well, I said, Seth, one day you're going to go out for Chinese food with a bunch of friends, and the place isn't going to be so good. Rather than complaining, you'll eat and smile. When your friends say, Seth, don't you think this is bad? You'll be able to respond, bad? No, this isn't bad. This is good. I've had bad. And you'll be able to tell this story. I threw some bills on the table, and we got up and left. I took Seth out for some terrific Mexican food and beers, on me. I've gone out for Chinese food all over the country, all over the world, wherever I've traveled. And my mother Harriet and I would make it a habit to get to Chinatown, or at least a Chinese restaurant, wherever we ventured together. I've eaten Chinese food in Chicago, San Francisco, Toronto, Ontario, Richmond, Virginia, Chillicothe, Ohio, Socorro, New Mexico, Vancouver, British Columbia, Calgary, Alberta, Jalapa, Mexico, and many times in Chinatown and London, England. These days, I tend to go out for Chinese food at least once or twice a month, often more. Here in Portland, I have about 4 different places I go to regularly, and there are many more. In fact, are you familiar with the famous 1929 Edward Hopper painting called Chop Suey? That painting was set in a Chinese restaurant right here in Portland, Maine. I've been meaning to try it for a while now, but I'm happy with my regular haunts. So why am I telling you this as my Christmas story? Well, you see, my Christmas just wouldn't be complete without going out for Chinese food, either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Yes, it's a stereotype, but it's something I do and often share with others. When I was working in social services, doing overnights in a youth group home, I would regularly volunteer to work Christmas Eves and Christmas Days so others could have the time off. On many occasions, there were 1 or 2 residents stuck with no place to go for Christmas. While it wasn't the same for them as being with family, I would come in early and take them out for Chinese food before my shift. Sometimes it was the first time they ever had been to a Chinese restaurant. Those times were always fun, as I could properly introduce them to the exotic food of the Orient. Have I ever told you about my good friend Laura? We've been close friends for almost 30 years. Our mutual friend Marilyn introduced us, and knowing us both well, Marilyn said to each of us independently, "You know, you guys should meet. You'd make great friends. I mean, you'll never be involved with each other, that wouldn't work, but you'll like each other." Sure enough, Marilyn was right. While we both lost touch with her years ago, Laura and I have been close friends since we first met. Laura was brought up in the borough of Queens in New York City. While she's always celebrated a big traditional Christmas, she's had lots of friends who celebrate as I do. That is, don't celebrate at all. Laura's family is still in the New York City area. When she can't get down to them for Christmas, she and I will go out for Chinese food together, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Now, Laura has a next-door neighbor, Connie. I don't know exactly how old Connie is, but I can tell you for sure that she's closer to 100 than she is 90. Connie's a real Mainer, having been raised on a farm and living here all her life, except for about 3 weeks in her teens when she went as far away as Connecticut. She didn't really like it and came home. Connie never married and has no nuclear family of her own. Her closest family nearby is her, well, and I quote, young cousin Winnie, unquote. Winnie's 80-something years old and still drives. She'll often come over from across town to visit Connie on Sundays. Winnie's children have moved to Arizona and Texas and generally don't make it home for Christmas. One time, a few years ago, Laura suggested we take Connie and Winnie out for Chinese food on Christmas Day. What a hoot that was! Getting Connie and her walker in my car, getting her into the restaurant, and helping her order. In all her years, it turned out, Connie was a stranger to Chinese food. Laura and I ordered a bunch of things for the table, but Connie was told by a member of her church group to get the sweet and sour pork. To me, ordering sweet and sour pork in a good Chinese restaurant is like going to a terrific steakhouse for a salad. I mean, it's there if you want it, but why would you? Connie ate her sweet and sour pork, reluctantly tasting the other things Laura and I had put on the table. When she offered us some sweet and sour pork, of course, Laura and I politely took some, but sort of left it buried under the leftover white rice on our plates. Just so you know, though, Connie was much more adventurous over the next few Christmases. She found out she really liked sesame beef, orange chicken, and pork yucca Maine, among other things. One day I'll tell you about the time we introduced her to Thai food, but that's for another time. Now, Laura moved about 45 minutes north of me a few months back. This year she's flying home to see her mother in New York on Christmas Day. I helped her find a great fare on JetBlue, PWM to JFK. Her flight leaves at about 05:30 local, and on Christmas Eve she's going to stay at a hotel near the airport that offers shuttle service. So Laura and I have Christmas Eve planned. Sometime after I pick up my McDonald's Filet-O-Fish sandwich for Hannah and Santa, and before I make my phone call to Beth, Laura and I are going out for Chinese food. We'll probably be going to the Imperial China here in South Portland. I can't tell you the full menu, but we're going to overorder on purpose. For sure, there'll be steamed vegetable dumplings, scallion pancakes, Chinese latkes, I like to call them, some kind of soup, probably ginger chicken with string beans, subgum fried rice, and maybe some lo mein. There should be plenty of food, so if you want to come by, well, I hope to see you there. Many of you have met and liked my Krepluck brother Eric, who, by the way, will also be going out for Chinese food on Christmas Day. But I think you'll like Laura, too. So Merry Christmas, and pass the egg rolls, please. And if you finish a subgum fried rice, I'll work on the lo mein. For the Plain Talking Safety Airlines Pilot Spectacular Christmas Extravaganza 2018, or whatever we're calling this, this is your main man, Uncle Micah. Merry Christmas. And I thought I asked you to pass the lo mein.
See, am I the only one here who's now so starving he wants a Chinese?
I'm starving.
No,
I think it's all of us.
I was having kebab cravings, but now I've got to go and see what we can rustle up downstairs in the
Anybody want some of this lo mein?
Oh, he's got some.
No way.
Excellent.
That
You used to be my
How about an
friend,
egg roll?
Micah. How could you do
Come
that to
on,
me?
that's unacceptable.
That's outrageous.
Micah's just mean.
Yeah, that is just
I
genuinely.
went out before the show to grab it just so I could do that.
Well, I hope it's
You were
really
supposed
cold
to-
now.
You were supposed to give us the heads up that we may want to have some lo mein on hand.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, last time I went outside and grabbed something, it put me on the sex offenders register.
No,
so
okay.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Okay, next.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone
Steph's
sing loudly.
here now.
Moving
Come on, Steph's
yeah,
here to keep
family
an eye on
show.
everyone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on,
Yeah,
Steph,
I-
crack the whip.
Okay.
I'm not doing a good enough job, apparently.
Okay, I think we need to move on to the next bit. If we may,
Yes. So
before-
up next, we're going to move things swiftly on,
Please.
and we're going to go with our usual quiz, as
Yeah,
brought
Christmas
to you
quiz.
by the pilot that is Pip.
Okay.
Yay! It's my annual festive podcast quiz. So I hope you folks have been swatting up and studying on what's been going on this last 12 months in the podcast community.
Okay.
Because there are fantastic
Master.
prizes and points on offer for the
Are
winner
there?
of the
Okay,
quiz.
right. Okay.
So I've kind of lost count now of how many guests we have.
I've no idea. We have
I was
such
counting on
hundreds.
about 10.
Yeah,
I
I think
says
we've
9 participants on my screen.
Yeah,
so, I
so,
guess
Well, that
so it'll
works
be
out.
9 plus 3 then. So there's because you've got
So
Nev.
that's 9 plus 3.
That would be 12, Pip. Yeah.
Carry it to the one. Right. Okay. Well,
Okay,
so,
but I've
these-
got lots of buttons to press, so you can count me out, and I know
Yeah.
nothing about aviation anyway.
Okay,
so that's
fair
fine.
enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Right. So what I thought we'd do then is we'll have one question each, and I'll, as quizmaster and points point master as well, I'll add up the points at the end and decide who the winner is.
Okay.
So some of these questions are quite tricky, I think. I
Okay.
spent all of 5 minutes just before lunch this morning coming up with these.
Good. Right.
So some of them are quite tricky. Some of them are perhaps a little easier.
Do we have to ding
but-
in or something, Pip?
No, it's.
No.
I'm gonna offer you a choice. I'm gonna give you a choice of questions 1 to 10, and you can pick.
Oh,
one.
okay.
Ah,
Okay.
So
I
it's
like
kind
it.
of potluck,
Right.
and we'll see what happens at the end. So, let's go with Steph first of all. First question is yours. So all the pressure is on. Pick a number, Stephanie, between 1 and 10.
8.
8.
wouldn't have chosen
this
that
might
one.
be quite tricky for you. Actually, might be quite
Oh
tricky.
no.
It's a
Can
straightforward
I choose
question.
again?
no, absolutely not.
No, it's not like Tinder, Steph.
Okay.
Can I swipe? I don't know which way you swipe those. Swipe
Right.
left, swipe right.
Or just tell them to go away, Steph. That's what we do. Anyway,
They
Well, I
were
just
going
don't
to have a
have the app
version
in the
of Tinder
first
for
place, so.
dyslexic, weren't they? Where you went up or went down, but apparently that caused offence as well.
no, okay, right, Pip. If you could do the question,
Pip,
that'd be
Pip.
grateful.
I
Question.
tell you what, Steph, because I like you, I'm gonna
Okay.
offer you question number 9.
Oh,
Oh, favouritism.
Oh, you ugly dog. Honestly, why would I do
We
you?
know he likes to.
right. Anyway, look, yeah, you told me a moment ago, like if I needed to move things on, I had to do this. You know, so it's just like.
Yes, that's the. If you hear that noise, you've only got a few seconds to
Yeah,
answer.
absolutely.
So here we go.
Yeah.
Kicking off the 2018 podcast quiz, Steph with question number 1, and it's this: which of these is not an IFR waypoint in the US?
Oh, blimey.
Is it Nick, spelled Nickk? Is it Jeff, Jeff? Is it Dana, Danar? Or is it Steph, spelled Steph? Which of these is not a US IFR waypoint? Nick, Jeff, Dana, or Steph?
And your 5 seconds starts now.
I'm going to go with Jeff.
You're saying Jeff is not a waypoint in the US. I
Not
have
a waypoint.
to tell you that Jeff is a waypoint in the US. Jeff, in fact, I look how much preparation I did for this. I can actually show you.
Ooh, where the waypoints actually, did you make
Jeff
a route?
is the waypoint
with all of our...
somewhere in the northeast, up in Maine, somewhere near Micah.
Yeah.
Nick is a waypoint way down here in Southern California.
Oh, I'm not. I'm in the list.
So I knew that Nick was a waypoint.
And Steph, you're a waypoint.
I knew I was a waypoint.
Here, somewhere near Charleston, I think that is. Dana is not a waypoint.
Yep.
So unfortunately,
I knew it
Steph,
wasn't Nick. I knew it wasn't me. I took the wrong guess between myself and Jeff. Jeff just sounded like a strange.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's minus 3 billion points for you.
Right, good.
Yeah, but now what happens if she gets question number 8 right?
Yeah,
Does
good
she get a
point.
point back if she gets question 8?
Well, no, because you're doing question 8.
Has to answer all 10 questions.
Right, okay.
And moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, who's next? Let's have a volunteer. Al.
Al. Al.
I'll go next. My name's Al.
Pick a number, Al, between 1 and 10, but not 9.
Oh.
5.
5.
Okay.
Oh, this is a good one. I like this question. This is community orientated. Our good friend, listener, and podcast BFF Stephen Ivy is doing his initial type rating, his first jet rating, on which type of aircraft?
The CRJ 700.
Oh, that is absolutely correct.
Oh, you see, very good.
That is 2 points for,
yes.
for Al.
Oh, yes.
Very good. Yeah.
Well done. Let's go with Armando.
Okay.
Pick a number, sir.
I'll take number 7.
Number 7. This is my favorite question.
Oh, good.
The Plane Safety Podcast.
Oh, no.
or PSP for short, is widely regarded as the finest aviation podcast in existence.
Is it? Right.
It is, apparently.
Okay.
This is what I read.
Is this a true-false question?
Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So that's the Plane Safety Podcast, PSP. But which airport has the 3-letter IATA code of PSP?
Oh, that's Palm Springs.
Oh my goodness, it is Palm Springs. Armando, you are a legend.
Very good.
That is, let me see, that's 13,000 points to Armando.
Right.
Hey.
Right.
Incredible. What question was that?
What
That was
sort
number
of
7.
scoring system is this, just out of curiosity?
He's probably flown there.
Yeah.
I have flown there, yeah.
So
There
have I,
you-
actually.
Cheat. Oh, you both cheat.
All right, Nick, since I hear you complaining so much, pick a number, sir.
1.
1. Oh, now this one you should get if you've been paying attention to your own podcast.
I never
All
pay
the
attention.
last
I
few
certainly not to my own podcast.
Wow. Check this out. Right. So the Atlanta Tower, air traffic control tower in Atlanta, is the 3rd tallest in the world at 121.31 meters or 398 feet. Name either of the other 2 towers in the world that are taller.
We just talked about this.
It was just 3 episodes ago.
Yeah, that's too long in my.
Jeff did a whole
I
crew.
remember either.
Can we have the
I'm
timer,
gonna
please, Matt?
Yes, of course you can. Here we go. Yes.
Dubai.
Incorrect, sir. I'm going to offer this one out for
But it's at the top of the bloody hotel.
for 1,000 points. Can anyone else get one of the other 2 towers that are taller?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Shanghai?
O'Hare, isn't it?
Abu Dhabi.
I just looked it up so I could cheat,
Beckles.
although I can't pronounce it.
I can tell you what tower is closest to a runway in the U.S. anyway.
Do I get any points for that?
Did we lose Pip though? More important.
Come on then.
Yeah, it looks like Pip is gone.
Looks like I got 10,000 points after all then.
Still there. My thing is Skyping like mad.
Oh, he is actually scoping like mad.
Pip, please don't go.
Nick, have you hacked into Pip's internet?
Yeah, well, he's asked me silly questions.
Flying. Do you believe it?
Keep going, Pip.
You'll have. Okay, I'm trying to turn off my video. Hang on.
Yeah, you've done it.
You've done it.
Oh, in fact, okay, so the answer was the taller towers in Atlanta are, in number 2, it's Kuala Lumpur at 130 meters. And the tallest tower in the world is, hard to pronounce, Suvabhumi, which is otherwise known as Bangkok International at 132 meters.
Wow.
There you go. So that's no points for anyone, I'm afraid.
Right. Okay.
Well, you think I'm a damned air traffic controller? What's the matter with you?
Paul, I see you on my screen. It's your turn. Pick a number between 1 and 10, which is not 9, 5, 7, or 1.
10.
10.
10. Oh, this is a tricky one. I don't know.
My God.
If you're listening to the later Pilot Guy episodes. Here we go. Listen carefully. The bishop of which English city is often invoked at social gatherings to remind people to pass the port?
Well, what I can tell you is that if that was a question for my citizenship, British citizenship, I would fail miserably because I've literally no ID, man.
It's more important than your British citizenship. This is for points. This is for 1,000 points.
No ID.
Nick, that's my nickname.
All right, go on, Nick.
Norwich.
It is the Bishop of Norwich.
Yay!
Bravo!
For 10 points, can you tell me what the correct response is to the question, do you know the Bishop of Norwich?
Well, it depends whether you know you're supposed to pass the port or you're a bit slow. But let's assume you know or you're a bit slow. You would say he's a nice old codger, but he always forgets to pass the port.
That's fantastic. So that's 10 points plus 1,000,000 points for the bonus question.
Right.
Well done.
Well,
Who hasn't had a question?
We haven't heard from Nev for a while, so I think we should go to Nev.
Yeah.
Oh, Nev. Sorry, Nev.
Yeah.
Nev,
That's all right, mate.
pick a question.
I'll go for number 8, please.
Number 8. Oh, no, this is too easy. I'm only going to give you 3 points for this.
Hey, this is easy. This is the one that you wouldn't let me do.
I don't think you'll get this, though, Steph. I tell you what, if Nev doesn't get it, if Nev offers to give it to you and you do get it, I'll give you 16 trillion points.
Excellent.
Nev, which airfield was the location of the PTUK summer flying and barbecue?
Oh, well, that was Seething Airfield.
It was Seething Airfield. 3 points for you.
And I still want to know why the airfield's still so upset. Why is
Yeah, it's very cross.
Yeah, it's very cross.
They're very cross with us after we'd left it in a bit of a state.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Dents in the runway. That
Yeah, so let's gloss over that and move on. Yeah.
Someone didn't pay his 14
Who's yet
landing
to go?
fees. Yeah.
Okay.
Carlos.
Yes,
up to
darling.
you.
Okay.
Pick a number.
What we got left, Pip?
You've got number 2, number 3,
Oh,
number
stop
4.
there. Stop there. One of my favourite numbers. I love a number 2.
Do you? Right, okay. Is that just because you could Skype from work for a prolonged period?
I hoped you would pick this question, Carlos.
Right, okay.
Right up your street.
Yes. Or Ali, in fact.
Now,
Judging.
listen carefully.
Okay.
Listen carefully.
Okay.
Laid nose to tip with no overlap. How many A340-600s could
Oh
you
my
fit
God.
onto Heathrow's runway 09 left?
Wow. I'm going to do this just because I don't think you're going to get it.
Hold on. Are these A300? Are these A340s? Did you say?
A340-600s.
It's a 600, yeah. Okay, so that's the longest.
Yeah, laid end to end, so that you can't have any overhang on either end of the runway.
Okay, so that's the longest fuselage on a commercial airliner in the world. So
Complete A300.
340s. Yeah, 600. Yeah. I'm gonna go. Oh God, what was the answer to the question for the Christmas quiz? Wow, they're there, written there.
Can I give you a slight clue?
I'm not cheating,
Ben.
I'm not cheating.
They can see you. You are aware of that, aren't you?
Oh dear.
Failed. On the register.
Massive fail there.
yeah, big fail there.
Because I never done that at school. It
Matt,
was
play the thing.
No, okay,
it was.
right, okay, hang on. Here we go. Sorry, I just thought I'd break it.
Right,
I need an answer.
I'm gonna go with just a random number in my head because I'm. Oh, thank you. 7.
Oh dear.
7. Okay, that's
Like a
a
low
wildly
number.
useless answer.
Okay.
Any other guesses? I'm going to offer this one out. I'll give you a hint more than 7.
Yeah, I would like to offer 22.
22 from Nev. Anyone? Nick?
I said 20. Did you get my 20?
20 from Steph.
Nick said 1.
I'll split the middle at 21.
Oh, it's very diplomatic.
Any other guesses? Last chance.
I
Al?
was going to go with 22, but Nev just beat me, so I'll go for 21 and a half.
Right.
21 and a half. I did say complete A340s. So you get negative
Well, that's
40
21
for that.
A340s
42.
and a 320.
42.
42. You know what? Although it's not correct, I'm going to give 3,000 points to Micah.
Oh, really? Is that many?
No, it's not. It's more. The correct answer, as far as my maths goes, is an A340. Nick, correct me if I'm wrong. Is 75.36 meters long.
Wrong.
09 left at Heathrow is 3,901 meters, which gives us just over 51 A340-600. So the answer was 51.
49.
No, you didn't. You said 20-something.
No, that wasn't me. That was some other idiot.
Oh, well, I already gave the points to Micah. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. Right, good. Well, it's very diplomatic, isn't it? Okay.
Right,
good.
so who's next then?
Yes.
For the guillotine. Question.
I think we've only got a couple more questions. Who hasn't been yet?
I think Paul. Have we
Paul,
had a
come
go
on,
with
Paul.
No, I did it already.
Oh, you've done it already.
Yeah, but you're the newbie. You're the
I'm
newbie.
going it ahead.
Paul's the newbie, so he should be put to the test
Well, Matt
twice.
hasn't been yet. Let's have Matt.
Oh.
Okay.
I know nothing about aviation. Is there any point
No,
in
I'm
this
going to give you an easy one. I'm going to give you number 4. You ready, Matt?
Oh, God, yeah. Okay.
What story features always second
No,
on the show?
Matt, this is for you.
Okay, go on.
How many, I'll say that again. How many chicken nuggets did Steph to UK 200 chicken nugget contest?
Oh, no. I've got the video.
Oh. I am going to say 26.
Does Dr. Steph know the answer?
Is that 26
I think I do.
or 26 between the two of them?
My guess.
Nuggets.
My guess is 26 chicken nuggets.
Okay, 26 is not the correct answer.
Oh.
I think I actually do kind of remember.
Okay, go on.
30 or 31?
31?
I thought I remembered the number 31.
Yeah, 31. 30 or 31.
Okay. I'm not going to give any points for that. The correct answer, in fact, it was a tie, if you remember. You ate 19 each, which was 38 chicken nuggets.
I lost by 11.
No points there.
But there's no easy way to put this. Steph swallowed first.
Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, thanks for that.
Which means there's only one question left. Has anyone not had a go?
Come on,
yet?
give it.
And I have not.
Ryan's gone or I've gone.
Nope, I have. Well, Micah, we'll split
Brian
it.
hasn't had a go. Okay, no, this is Brian then. Okay, another of our very bestest podcaster listener friends, BFFs, is our wonderful friend Jennifer at a medium-sized Midwestern airport. Jennifer has a lovely red car that will belong to me one day, whether she likes it or not.
Oh, okay.
But what name did I give to that car?
Oh no, that's on the show.
You mean her MG?
That's a big clue, but yes. What female name did I give to her MG?
Mary Grace.
Ooh, that's a good guess. Do you know what, Brian? I'm going to give you 20 points for that, just because it's a good guess. But it's not right. It's close, but it's not right.
Ooh.
The answer was, in fact, Marge.
Marge. That's cool. I
Oh,
like
in
that.
my head, I always pronounced it Margie.
Yeah,
Margie.
me too.
Ah, I see. Yeah,
Oh,
as
really?
an MG. Yeah, yeah.
Marge after Marge Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought
Now, hang on, right.
Bad research
Now,
there. Not good.
Now, bear with me a second. Just let me add up the points here as I've been going along. So let's 3 billion for 13,000 there. Carry the one. Exchange. Do you know what? You're not going to believe this, but
What?
it is.
Let me go.
It is an 11-way tie.
Is it? Right.
It is an 11-way tie.
That's very...
Except for Steph, who unfortunately got minus 18,000 points.
Right.
Everyone
Okay.
else.
Good. Okay.
So we have a tiebreaker question.
Oh no. Right.
Oh.
Okay. Go on then.
For everyone except Steph, unfortunately.
Okay. Right.
So here we go.
So
this
how?
is the closest answer wins.
Okay. So how? Right. Oh, I see. I see what you've done there. Okay. Go on.
Okay,
Then.
here we go.
Have you
So
got a bit of
take
paper and a
second.
pen there to write these down, Pip? Because I haven't.
Yeah. Write down your answer if you can.
Oh. Right. Hang on.
So. You would have think I've fixed this, but I haven't.
Right.
Dr. Stephanie Plummer,
Oh,
who I can see
Buddha.
there in our top right-hand corner, is a well-known runner. She likes to run in the park. But how many miles in 2018 has Steph run, including all her marathons and all her training and all her fun runs? How many
Oh
miles
my
in
God.
2018 has Steph run?
Okay. I have my guess in my
You know
head.
the answer to this, Pip, because you've been stalking her throughout
yes.
2018.
I was going to say
I was wondering who I could see like behind me. In the,
Yeah.
And also the previous year as well, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, to be fair there, Steph, I would imagine he's probably quite a long way behind you because of the pace that you're setting.
So I'm just going through Dr. Steph's Instagram profile. I'm just
are
going,
you? I know that's
adding up.
cheating. No, you can put that away.
That doesn't sound like a stalker at all.
Yeah. Okay. Pip. I'm gonna throw in an inaugural guess, if you will, and I'm gonna say 240 miles.
Oh, not even close.
Oh no, is it? Not?
Say again, 240.
Man, that's miles out.
Yeah, 240 miles. I was gonna guess at.
Way less than that.
The
Anyone
actual
else?
answer to this is as many as
12.
it took to
Micah?
be away from Al's wind.
Well, good point. Yeah.
I would say 572.
572 from Nev.
Nick.
180.
Nick with 180. Pathetic.
Per
And these are training
For the
miles as
year.
well.
Yeah, training
No,
miles
this
as
is
well.
miles
All
she ran in
miles.
2018.
All miles. 6,000.
I like your style. Yeah.
1,258 without going over.
Oh,
1,258.
from Brian, yes.
777.
From Carlos.
777. Oh, I like it.
I see what you did
See what I
there.
did there.
Yeah.
410 for me.
410 from Armando.
Armando, 410. Nick hasn't said anything yet.
Yeah, I did 180.
Yeah.
180. Oh, you did say that. Sorry, Al.
12.
12.
12.
I think even I managed 12, to be fair.
But you know, in these competitions, sometimes it's good to go low because sometimes you can just get lucky. So I'm going with 12.
Right, okay. I see
right.
what we did. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
$1, Bob Barker.
Yeah.
Perhaps Pip's going to add at the end of the question, without trainers on.
Oh. No, I think we've had the question. Anyway, okay. Look.
Okay, well, so we've got answers ranging from 12 to 6,000.
Okay.
Quite a range.
Steph, do you remember what the answer was?
I believe it was 678.
678 miles the young doctor has run, which means, rather surprisingly, quite unexpectedly, Carlos is in fact the 2018 quiz winner.
Oh dear!
Yeah, bravo! Unbelievable.
You do realise he's going to be unbearable now for the next 12 months, don't you? Yeah. Nev, have you got anything to add to that?
Well, I came second, but that's not for the first time.
No. Okay. Right. So we're going to move on very quickly then.
Matt, before you move on, this is where. Hey, Matt, before you move on, this is where I have to say Merry Christmas and good evening to everyone. I have to take off, unfortunately, but it was lovely to join you all for even just a short period.
No pun intended there.
Give Steph a big round of applause, everyone.
Thanks, Steph. Thanks for joining us. Take care, darling.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a great night and Merry Christmas.
And happy egg rolls.
Merry Christmas to you too, Steph. Take care, my darling. Take care.
Merry Christmas, Dr. Steph.
And actually, while we're on the subject of APG and things,
Yeah, see you tomorrow, Steph. Get home soon.
Will do. All right. Cheers.
Yeah.
Drive safe.
Take care. So while we're on that, obviously somebody who's always with us, but unfortunately because he's literally in the air at the moment, is unable to join us. Is a lovely message from this guy.
'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. That's the best I could do. Hey, I'm in my hotel room, Springfield, Mass, and I'm so bummed that I can't join the PTUK extravaganza, the Christmas extravaganza today. I'll be flying all day, going from here to Minneapolis to Philadelphia and then eventually Detroit tonight. I won't get in until too late to join all the frivolity at the extravaganza. So I'm just here wishing you all, missing you all, but wishing you all a wonderful Christmas holiday season. To all of you at the PTUK, Plane Safety, Airplane Geeks, and the APG community. Merry Christmas.
Oh,
there we Thanks, Captain Jeff.
And he's nodded off. Look. Anyway,
yeah, he's overdone it clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. Had a couple of eggnogs too many, I suspect. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thanks for that, Jeff. It's very kind of send that in, wasn't it?
Indeed, yes.
So before we start to wrap things up then for our Christmas special, we're going to go across the panel and just have a quick sort of Q&A as to what you want in your bag of presents from Santa this year. So we'll start with Nev.
Oh, well, yes, I'd like some new firmware for my Blackmagic Design Ultra Studio recorder, because I've been trying to get it to work all evening and it was working a treat a few weeks ago, but I am easily pleased, and it's probably a free download anyway. But no, Sue and I are not going to buy each other presents really this year, because this is our first Christmas together as husband and wife. So we've got each other, and that's the most important thing. So mine a trip over to Jersey on Christmas Eve and then coming back on Boxing Day. And that's it.
Lovely.
That's lovely,
nice.
Nev. Well
what
done.
are you doing, Carlos?
Oh, what would I want for Christmas?
Yeah.
Well, something aviation related,
of
course, which I think I may well have got this year.
Okay. Oh, so Gemma has bought you a present via yourself, is that essentially?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Every year it's the same thing. You know, what do you want for Christmas? And we kind of say, well, I shan't bother, but. You know, it always ends up something aviation. But no,
iPhone 10 probably.
Yeah, no, not an iPhone. If I got given one of those for Christmas, it would have a cracked screen, like most iPhones.
Okay, moving on.
But yeah, moving swiftly on to our next guest. Come on in, Armando. What's going to be in the Christmas list for you this year?
Oh man, well, if Santa had all the money in the world, I I think there's a 2-seat Spitfire here in the UK.
There is, yeah. There's one at Duxford, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alternatively, if Santa isn't that well off, then just a Tiger Moth ride out of Duxford.
Oh, right. Oh, well, fair enough. Yes, he's a man with simple tastes.
So, Uncle Micah, what's going to be your gift for this year?
Well,
what would you
don't know
like?
what's going to be my gift, but I know what I would like, and that is that special titanium card that you present to any airline in any hotel, and they just say, "Of course, first class, Mr. Angber, you're all set." And that way, I could come and visit my UK buddies on Christmas Day.
Oh, that would be awesome.
We would love that. You would be more than
That'd be-
welcome.
yeah.
I can assure you of that. Yeah.
Captain Nick, what's
Well, for me, a lovely set of pair of slippers to put on when I retire in May. But actually,
not that he's
much
excited about that, of course.
Much more importantly, to a Kiwi friend of mine who's having trouble keeping his medical going so that he can do the one thing he loves doing, which is flying. And I wish him all the best for next year. That would be a great gift for him to get better and get back in the air.
Oh, you see now
Well
you
said.
just trumped everybody there, Nick.
Yeah,
that is a
Nick.
lovely, selfless thing to do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, Captain Al, come on, dare I ask?
I am hoping that Santa will look down favourably on my aeroplane that's having its annual maintenance done in the 2 weeks before Christmas, and I'm hoping that it comes out of that with no horror stories, and that it's been a well-behaved aeroplane, and that it gets all that it wishes for.
Very good. Yes,
Oh,
okay.
how nice. What's the priority for you, Mr. Pip?
Well, I don't know if it's a priority, but for the princely sum of £20, I just bought myself yesterday a ticket to enter the lottery at the British Aerobatic Association to win a 50-minute flight in a Spitfire.
Oh,
so
wow.
I win that. That would be an awesome gift.
That would, yeah. No, I'll give you that.
I'll tell you what, I hope, out of the 468 billion people who've entered that competition, you have a chance to win, Pip. I really do.
Yeah.
So,
Brian, what's the top of the list for you?
I don't know. I was hoping I could get these ears trimmed.
What does that hat say? Droopy?
Yeah, no.
You can get over-the-counter medication for that problem now in the UK.
So you were saying then, Brian.
No, I really want to be selfish this time. And what I'm really looking forward to is, and this will make Captain Nick so happy, flying either on the A350 or the A380. I've yet to fly on either one of them. And that's what I'm looking forward to this in 2019. So I hope Santa brings me a plane ticket.
Okay.
There we
Nice.
go.
I like it, yeah.
And Paul... I mean, what could we say?
I mean, he does a lot of flying already, doesn't he?
What's top of the list for you, Paul?
No, I mean, for everyone, I really want to. I mean, okay, no, for Nev first, Wi-Fi on BA. A lower ADP in the UK, or let's just get rid of the ADP, so we have like flights that get even cheaper, so that everybody can fly. That's my biggest motive. I want everybody to fly instead, and you too, to fly on the 350. It's my favorite plane nowadays. It's really awesome. And selfishly for me, I would like to have on our podcast with Alex, I would like to have Bruce Dickinson, the singer of Iron Maiden, to come as a guest. That's been my dream for 3 years since we started. 4 years now we started the podcast. I've never actually reached out, but I've actually want to try to do that next year.
Maybe 2019, my friend, is the time to do that. There is no harm in reaching out. The worst that can happen is the answer is no, and you've
you're right.
lost
You're right.
or gained nothing.
Now we have enough listeners to kind of be credible to go to these publicists or something to say, yeah,
that's all right. We don't have any listeners, and we get away with it. So
He's an awfully nice chap, actually, because he used to be based at Manchester, where I was based, and I used to see him quite often on the staff bus. And you just chat to him, and he's a top bloke.
Yeah, everybody says that. I even know in which pub he actually goes to in London, but I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the stalker, so I'm going to go through the official route of the publicist.
So we are going to start to wrap up the show, but we've got one last...
Actually, I'm going to quick thing before we do.
Oh, go on.
Well, actually, first, Matt, did you say what you wanted for Christmas? That's the first thing.
Do you know what? And I know I keep saying this word.
A Christmas jumper.
No, I'm wearing a Christmas jumper. I'm really worried about this. I'm going to say the word. I'm sorry.
Right, anyway, moving on. the word he was looking for.
You don't have fluffy dice
in his coat.
Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, okay, all right then.
And then the other thing I was going to say is that I just think it's so kind of tragic that here it is. Nev mentioned that it's his first Christmas, married to lovely Sue, lovely Mrs. Nev, and all he wants for Christmas is new firmware. It just doesn't seem right.
Okay, good. Yeah. Nev, we've got a little bit of a little piece of video that we took. I think this is back from Farnborough, if my memory serves. Is that right?
Well, is this the one with featuring a couple of gentlemen that we both know?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, well, we've been trying, as you know, we try to get the production values up a bit on PTUK, and sometimes we're successful and sometimes we're not. So I thought, well, I want to try and find out from the real professionals, which is the Airline Pilot Guy show. These are the people, these are the Premier League people. And so I was very fortunate to be invited along to Nigel's house. Now, Nigel is a good chum of Nick's, and it just so happened that Captain Jeff was over there as well. So I thought I'll go along with my camera and I'll film them, and they can show me how professional they are.
Jeff is trying to set everything up, and God knows if he's going to get it done in time.
I doubt it. There's a very low probability of me getting anything done on time before our scheduled start time.
How do you think the show's going so far, Jeff?
Rubbish. Horribly, as usual. The audio routing and stuff. This stuff is a very technical IT term.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's sounding like we know what we're talking about.
That's the trick.
And that's the important
thing. Yep.
Oh my God! What the hell? The fact checkers haven't put their head above the parapet ever since we threatened them with that cease and desist letter.
Yes, I'm hoping
that helped a lot. It could be the Airline Pilot Guy for this show. That's enough. Come on, got to go back to work now.
Nice. Okay. Well, there we are. Anything you'd like to add to that, Nick? Nothing, apparently. It's silence. Okay.
Nick?
He's such a professional, he can't find the mute
button. Stupid software. It's lovely to see Jeff at work, isn't it? He really does know how to twiddle his knobs.
Indeed. Okay, good.
Certainly knows how to push people's buttons as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yes. Okay, before we end, then we have one piece of a track that I believe Pip has featured once before, but he probably didn't play it out anywhere near as well as we did.
It's kind of a link to the what is always story number 2.
Yeah, basically, story number 2, as you know, with our show, is always to do with a certain low-cost airline. And so this was sent to me by Owen, actually. So let's just sit back and enjoy.
We received an invitation in the post one Monday morn to attend our cousin's wedding in the town where we were born. The do was back in Kerry, so wishing to be frugal, we trod the net to find some decent travel deals on Google. Cheap flights, cheap as they can be. Bedad, we found an airline selling flights for 50p.
Diddly-eyed and died and died and died.
Well, we clicked onto the website and were mightily surprised to find the actual cost wasn't quite as advertised. We'd forgotten airport taxes had also to be billed, but a bargain is the bargain, and begorra we were thrilled. Cheap flights, Stansted to Tralee. At isn't every airline offers flights for 50p.
Diddly-eyed and died and died and died. Diddly-eyed and died and died and died. After studying the website, we decided it was best to pay priority board, and so that we'd sit 3 abreast. 3 abreast, that's the best. And of course we'd all have luggage, so that's an extra cost. And then we paid insurance in case our cases might get lost. Cheap flights, it's obvious to see. There must be extra charges when the flights are 50p. Mnya, mnya.
At last the flight was booked with all of the additions. We'd read the reams of small print of terms and conditions, and then pick up the charge for using Visa, which was drastic, cause how the feck are you supposed to pay if not with feckin' plastic? Cheap flights, we paid the feckin' fee, cause by now we were committed to the flights for 50p. Diddly-eyed and died and died and diddly-eyed and died and died, and someone's being diddled and it's us, so it is. A-hone, a-hone, a-hone. Now I don't know if you've tried locating Stansted on a map, but checking in at 5 a.m. is a feckin' load of crap. Is there bandex if you try to catch a train or underground? So a taxi to the arse of the world was more than £100. Cheap flights, we should have gone by sea. There's no such feckin' thing as a feckin' flight for 50p. Feckity, 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 feck, feck, feck. Feckity, 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 feck, feck, feck.
There we are. So there is more to that. If you want to hear the full version of that song, then take yourselves to www.fascinatingada.co.uk.
I don't think I've ever seen a flight for 50p. A damn good look, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not likely to either.
No.
Well, actually, you say that. I was looking on the website of said famous Irish airline, and they are offering return flights from Leeds, Bradford to Lanzarote in the Canaries for £20. Okay, it's not 50p, but it's still pretty good going, a return flight.
It's really good, yeah, absolutely.
They're never going to pay their court costs and fines.
Or get that aeroplane back that got impounded in France, indeed.
Yes.
Exactly.
Maybe they have that back. Yeah.
Spend the night in a French jail.
That must be the newly advertised single pilot fees.
Oh, no. Here we go.
Harping on about this week.
Ryanair reminds me of a carnival hawker here in the U.S. where they go, pay $1, take your chances. That's just the way it goes, you know?
Guys, there's an airline in China called Spring Airlines. I think the website is ch.com, if I'm not mistaken. Just look it up, Spring Airlines. You can find tickets from like Shanghai to Bangkok for $10. Sometimes you have promo fares at $1. I really have no clue how the economics of that, but it's fantastic. I've never flown them basically because I'm sure I'm too tall and I can only bring one leg in flight and I've got to pay for the other or something. But
I'll be honest with you, Paul. You don't strike me as a sort of person who would be able to cope very well in low-cost airline world.
I do a lot of EasyJet. EasyJet's my favorite airline.
Is it?
But not the other one, not the one you just
that one. Yeah.
No, it's a $1 fare, but $100 boarding fee.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, they let you on for free. They won't let you off again.
Yeah, once they've got you on board, that's it. Yeah, you have to pay extra for the stairs and things like
You're
that.
the fuel. You're the fuel.
Right, it's time to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Thank you so very much to everyone who has joined us. And
it's been
the lawyers called.
Is this an endurance record for PTUK?
It might well be, actually. I'm beginning to feel that way. Absolutely.
We're just trying to catch up with you, Nick.
Yeah,
APG.
absolutely. We're going to go for the whole APG.
Well,
look,
I think you've caught us up and overtaken us.
Anyway,
so that is where we are going to wrap up our festive edition of PTUK for this year. Thanks to everyone for downloading the show as always, or watching the show via YouTube. And Matt, what do you got to say?
Yeah, well, basically, so obviously we've got one more offline show to go. So with the New Year episode will also be a pre-record that will go out, and then obviously we will return to live programming from the sort of first week after the New Year, essentially. So watch social media for those details. In fact, I'm very much looking forward to some more of the as we've got Sir Nick on. Obviously, very much looking forward to the Sir Richard Johns series continuing. It's absolutely fascinating. I noticed we got the publisher.
We did
retweeted us today,
tweeted,
which was quite cool. So thank you so much, Nick. As we've got you on for your time.
Yeah, well done, Nick.
Doing that. That was it. Really.
Oh, you're
good.
very welcome. What did the publisher say? They wanted you to take it off or what?
No. They actually retweeted our show and sort of said if you're not doing anything, give us a watch. I don't know what that's. I don't know how much that cost you, Nev. Perhaps you could send the invoice in.
It cost him breakfast in Travel Lodge.
Oh, Nev's on mute.
Yes. No, there we are.
There he
That's,
is.
right. That's my fault.
Oh, yeah. No, wait. Sorry, that's Matt.
That was me.
That's Matt. He had the knob turned down.
Indeed.
Well,
say that again, Nev. Sorry.
No, just saying it was a great experience, and yeah, thanks ever so much, Nick, and yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing all the parts that we've put together.
I know. I did say in an earlier podcast that people really have no idea how much work that the legend that is Sir Neville of Bounds does in the behind the scenes in helping to glue this all together. So my personal thanks has to go to the legend that is Nev. Thank you so much for all your hard work, especially this year.
Very
mate.
kind.
It's
Thank
been
you.
really good.
Yeah.
Thanks
a lot.
Matt,
I really
know
enjoy
exactly
doing it.
how much work he puts into it, and that's the reason why I'm not doing it on Airplane Geeks any longer.
Yeah, no, fair point. Yeah, absolutely. It's just too exhausting. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So don't forget, for those of you who listen to the show, we are running our Christmas competition now to win some awesome prizes, including that signed book from Sir Richard Johns.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your chance to win some fantastic prizes in this year's PTUK Christmas competition, all you have to do is answer the following questions. What PTUK episode featured aircraft X-ray Mike 612? What is the ICAO code for the airfield Carlos learned to fly at? Apart from the Rolls-Royce RB211, what other engine has powered the Boeing 757? From these two aircraft, which has the longest fuselage? Is it A, the Airbus A340-600, or is it B, the Boeing 747-8? We all know Nev loves BA, but what year did British Airways form the budget airline Go? And what year did Go merge into EasyJet? What did the Wright brothers do before inventing an aircraft? What year was the film Airplane released? What airfield is the Queen's flight based at in the UK? The Concorde is well known for her droop nose, and it was used on takeoff and landing so the pilots had an unobstructed view of the runway. On final approach, what angle was this nose selected to? Where is RAF Akrotiri situated, and what is its ICAO code? What year was the airline Virgin Atlantic formed? NASA operate a Boeing 747 SP, registration November 747 November Alpha, which is a 41-year-old airframe. But who is the first owner of this iconic airframe? So for your chance to win these amazing prizes, send your answers in to podcast@planetalkinguk.com. That's podcast@planetalkinguk.com. Best of luck.
And the questions are on our Facebook page now.
Yep.
They are fully on the Facebook page.
And Twitter.
And Twitter as well.
I presume it's now the pinned tweet, is it? Have you made it?
Yeah, there is links and stuff on there, and you'll be able to see the questions and email the answers to us. We'll be bringing the winners and the answers to the questions.
On the Instagram page so that you're down there with the kids.
Down there.
Good point.
Insta.
Yeah.
But yes, we'll be announcing the winner and the answers to the questions on our first live show in the new year. So yeah, get your answers in while you're sitting there eating your Christmas dinner and your Christmas pud. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think for several of them, you'll need to get out your Google device in order to, or other search engines are available.
Or ask Alexa.
Yeah, right, Alexa, indeed. Okay, that's it, guys. That's where we're going to have to bring the show to a close.
Just a quick one before we go. Social media links for everyone for everyone who's joined us tonight. So we'll go first with our newest addition to the Christmas special show. So Paul, where can guys and girls find your awesome show on the interweb?
Guys, simply search for Layovers, whether on any podcast app or Layovers podcast on Google, and you'll find it. We're pretty much anywhere.
Fantastic. Okay.
And Captain Nick, obviously, we all know the show, but tell the listeners where they can find you as well.
Well, the website's airlinepilotguy.com. On Facebook, we're Facebook.com/airlinepilotguy, and on Twitter @APGcrew. And excuse me, I'll just get hello. Hello.
Oh, yeah, what you want, Nick? What's the matter there, Nick? We on Slack?
Hello, could you do the Slack bit, mate?
Yeah. See, that would have been really clever if we'd have actually been organised and done that, really, wouldn't it? But never mind, there we are. What a shame.
And the pilot of Pip. Tell us all about your podcast.
Yes, you can find us on the internet. That's www.theinternet.com.
Right.
And we'll be
Okay.
there somewhere.
Brilliant. Yeah, well done. Thanks for that.
And that is with obviously with your
Yes.
co-host Mr. Captain Al.
Indeed, and I've decided as a tribute to Paul's podcast that I'd start my own podcast in the new year called the Legover Podcast.
Right, okay. Other family-friendly shows, of course, are available.
And obviously over to Brian and Micah, and tell us about the Awesome Geeks podcast.
Well, the Airplane Geeks can be found at airplanegeeks.com. Although I'm not the associate producer any longer, I am still contributing bits and pieces every once in a while, as is Micah. So,
And we have a Slack team as well at Airplane Geeks, and you can join by sending an email to the geeks at airplanegeeks.com, and that's how you can reach the Airplane Geeks in general. You can find me on that Slack team under my name, Micah, and you can find me on Twitter at Maine, M-A-I-N-E, like the state in the USA, Maine, M-A-I-N-E, Fly, Maine Fly on Twitter.
Indeed. And Armando, you don't have a podcast, do you, sadly? But you do appear on ours quite frequently, so yes,
Drop some links in.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Corvus Aviation. That's Corvus Aviation, or just the website, corvusaviationusa.com.
And perhaps when you start your new chapter, sir, perhaps a podcast is on the way forward.
Yeah. No, I've already given
toast right here.
Armando's. I've already given the job.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's going to be our US correspondent.
Oh, fantastic. Can't
for
wait.
for flying and stuff in the US.
There you were thinking you were getting away from us pommy muppets, and no.
So that is where we are going to bring the plane talking airline pilot geeks safety layovers Christmas special 2018.
Just before you go.
I knew you were. I knew you would do this.
Yeah, but look, come on.
I just thought I'd introduce my wingman, who's sat a mile out
The
here.
legend
This
that
my-
is. Hey, Josh, how are you, mate?
Christmas to all the listeners.
Hey, Josh.
Go on then.
Happy Christmas.
Oh, well done, Josh.
Thanks,
Josh.
Cheers for
Thank
that.
you.
And what a perfect way to end. What a perfect way to end it. So here we are, guys. Yeah, take care, and happy Christmas, everyone.
Happy Christmas,
Say
everyone.
goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye. Woohoo!
Happy Christmas.